Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to Just Kicking It. I go by Polo Show, and I'm with the homie.
Story.
And we got a special guest today, a friend of the pod.
Yo, what up? It's Paxton.
Yeah. And we're just here to talk some hip-hop. So let's get right into it. So one of the OGs in the game, the rap game, legendary producer, Rockefeller Chain. Good music, you know. Do I need to say more? You know, Kanye West, you know, you already know what it is. So you know, he cuffed up KimYe, and they've been together for a while now. I don't know the specific amount of time, but it looks like they're calling it quits now. It looks like they said there were rumors of a divorce, but then like these reports have like stuck. We're gonna get the next topic we have is a rumor because it's not been confirmed yet. But this was initially a rumor. Like everyone was like, "Yo, this hearsay that Kim is getting a lawyer and then Kanye has been staying by himself." And there's the Christmas photos. He wasn't there, so people are saying, right? I'm getting all this from that video you sent me, Pax. But yeah, basically, it looks like they're calling it quits because you know the ones who really go get the story have confirmed that, right? So yeah, how do we feel about this? Initially? How do you feel, Soy?
Just want to do a round of applause real quick. And I want to thank God. I want to thank every single God. Buddha. Yeah, yo, this has been, yeah. I definitely am sad for Kanye because I'm sure he loves her or whatever. But as a fan, I'm just like watching. I'm like, I mean, that whole family seems like they're pretty fucked. If we're being honest, like their whole livelihood is based upon being fake. So it's like, you know, I can imagine that'd be a tough role to fill as like Kanye West. But all jokes aside, I can't see this. I don't know. It's a weird situation because they do have like multiple kids together. So that makes it kind of shitty for him. But I don't know. I feel like the selfish part of me is just like happy because it's like there is a possibility of an album.
Yeah, we're just like, yo, music.
Yeah, the music's going to be fire.
Yeah, it's like, that's what's on my mind. I'm just like, can you imagine what is going to like the sadness that's going to bring out?
I remember when he was working on The Life of Pablo, and there were like pictures of him in the studio with like KimYe was like lying down on the couch and shit, and I was like, what kind of album are you working on where KimYe's in the studio, bro? Like, what are you doing? You need to get your shit together. But yeah, I think we're gonna, for sure, if he's working on music, yeah, we're gonna get some fire music. Obviously, we're concerned for his mental health. We know that it's fragile times, but it looks like this has been a long time coming, and you know he was just trying to run for president, so I think he's stable. You know, I think, you know what I mean. Like, I think he should be good. But yeah, how do you feel about this, Pax?
Yeah, I mean, we got to look at the timeline, right? So like, you know, Kim and Kanye got married in like 2014. And, you know, Kanye had been wanting to be with Kim since like the graduation era. In fact, I think he said a few times that he was only with Amber Rose because he couldn't get with KimYe back then, right? So he had been wanting, you know, Kim Kardashian for a while. That was like his like dream girl or whatever, right? And he was, you know, able to get with her after, you know, she divorced Chris Humphries, which was the basketball player. And, you know, he, you know, went on obviously to have a family with Kim, and she was a big part of his life. But I think the thing we need to understand is that Kanye West in 2014 is very different than Kanye West in 2020. And I think the series of events that he's taken us on have led him to this divorce, right? Like, could anyone have predicted that Kanye would have, you know, been a MAGA wearing Trump supporter? Could we have predicted that he would cry?
No.
Like, in front of a bunch of people while trying to run for president? Like, would we have predicted this whole bipolar thing and the mental breakdowns and just all the Twitter explosions and all that? And I think, to be honest with you, it's kind of like, it's like, I don't know what I would do if I was Kim. Like, I'm not saying Kanye's completely at fault. Obviously, you know, we don't know what's totally going on, but from the outside, just watching him have these explosions and episodes, it's like, it would be hard for any marriage, I feel. And personally, like as a Kanye fan, I'm not the same. Like I don't look at him the same way as I did back then. You know what I mean? It's a completely different scenario. Back then in 2014, he was just starting his deal with Adidas. You know, he had dropped a Yeezus and he was kind of poised to take on the fashion world. And then this partnership with Kim was going to be like revolutionary because it was going to be like, you know, an industry dominating partnership. But I don't think he realized like how taxing it is to be with a person like Kim Kardashian, who has to film a reality show, who, you know, is always in these tabloids for negative reasons. And a lot of the times has been speculated to invite the tabloids in to release her own drama just to stay in the press. Whereas Kanye has kind of always been more of like a private person, if that makes any sense. But yeah, it's sad, man. Like it's a sad time being a Kanye fan and watching him go through all these hoops. Like when he cried on stage, like at his presidential announcement or whatever it was, or like at some sort of rally, like it was like, oh, it's not a good look. So I just feel like that's kind of been this whole path that we've been brought on, and now it's coming to a close. I think one of the other things too is, you know, Kim Kardashian shares photos of them from Halloween, right? And this never really occurred to me, but in all the photos, Kanye, quote unquote, is dressed up in like a big costume, right? So like, for example, they did the Flintstones one year and Kanye was dressed up as Dino, right? And then like in another one, I think they did some sort of alien thing and Kanye was just like some big ass alien in the background. But a lot of people are pointing to that now and saying, look, he was not in those. They've been having problems for a while. And, you know, it never really occurred to me. But honestly, yeah, he might not be in those Christmas photos or Halloween photos, sorry. And he might just be, you know, photoshopped in there, right? So, yeah, it's interesting. I think also the other thing too is, just to kind of wrap it up, is that, you know, he moved to Wyoming, right? And Kim Kardashian is an LA girl. Like, let's be honest about it. She wants to be in you know, Calabasas, near all the action, where all the stuff happens.
Yeah,
Wyoming is so far away.
I just remember seeing when they said he was getting a place in Wyoming, like Kim Kardashian did like protest to that. She was like, no, we're not like moving out. But eventually, you know, like it just happened, right? Like,
yeah, I don't think
her contesting.
They spend a little bit of time in both, right? A little bit of time in LA, a little bit of time in Wyoming. I think Kanye obviously wanted Wyoming because, you know, land is very cheap and he wanted to start his manufacturing facility for Yeezy and he wanted to have all that open space and own land and all that stuff. And, you know, that's great. But for someone like Kim, she needs to be like in the city, like up in the clubs, up in the scene, you know, keeping up with her social status. And Wyoming can't really do that. I mean, you're in the middle of nowhere, literally.
I saw a headline that said that it was the presidency that made Kim call it quits. It was like Kanye, like that was basically what made her like say, oh, it's the last straw.
Yeah,
I mean, can see how if the case was really, because I mean, like, yo, fuck, a presidency, bro. If you have a life partner, I gotta be talking to you about that at least 5 years. You know, that's shit we talk about when we meet. You know what I mean, or at least a couple years before. Not just I wake up in the morning or you hear it on TV like, yo, I'm running for president. Like, you know, I think like that looked like that was the case. He just started tweeting one night.
That's the thing. He had like announced that he was running for president. Remember at MTV Awards when he was like, he got the Vanguard Award for artist like lifetime achievement, and he had dropped it. He was like, I'll be running for president in 2020, and like, okay, that was in what 18 maybe 2018 around there. Yeah, let's say. It was definitely before the whole Pablo video and everything came out. Whatever. So, anyways, you know, he announces this, and then he didn't like put any effort into the campaign. It was almost like somebody like it reminded me of me in high school, like doing an entire project like the night before it's due, you know, just like rushing it completely, like everything at the last minute. There was no way he was going to win. like, you know, regardless of
like, right. Yeah, of course. Yeah, there was no way.
There was no way. It was just so last minute. It was so stupid. So I definitely could see Kim being like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, and that wasn't even the worst part, was the fact that he was running. I think the worst part was the explosion and the crying. Remember that face? Ugh.
Yeah. I think it was the tweets. It was the tweets out, like what he just bursted out. I remember academics had said on Everyday Struggle that like that when he first started with those round of tweets saying like, yo, I'm going to be president, I'm going to get everyone's masters back, which we've not heard, none of those things have been accomplished. But when that all happened one night, that same night, he was like, yo, Kim slept with Meek, she went to some meeting, some like reform meeting, like that was all in the one tweet. And he was like, yo, Drake needs to apologize to me, like in the same 250 characters.
He's unhinged. He's
it's crazy. He was just like going, and it was just like, academics had said that it's almost like being in the Kardashian family is like being in the Matrix. And like, he compared it to being in Get Out. Like Kanye said, like, thought Get Out was about him. And like, he did. Was like, yo, he was in this family where it's like they're controlling him. And that moment where we saw that was like, yo, guys, help me. I'm fucking, I just saw a flash.
Did you guys ever listen to that one interview with Snoop Dogg? I think it was on Breakfast Club, and him and Charlemagne are talking about, Travis Scott being in the Kardashian family. And Charlemagne's like, yo, Snoop, do you have any advice? And he's like, yo, Travis, if you listening, get out now, son. Like, get out now. Get that cup of tea away from you, man. Like, he's like, because the women on point, makeup lines, fashion shows, walking the runway, successful. But the men in that family, no. Lamar Odom, Robert Kardashian, Kanye West. Like, you just see these like tragic stories. Yikes, bro.
Yeah. That's pretty crazy.
The hypnosis ends, like you don't know what to do with yourself.
Bro, like no wonder Travis dipped out, bro. Like no wonder he dipped out. He's not claiming Kylie like that. He's gone though, bro. Like he's like, yo, fuck this shit. I'm not ending up like that. Exes.
I mean, like, it was a slip up too. Like, he was, it was just like, we were just hitting the baddest chick in the game. And then, she was like, yo, I'm keeping this baby. Like there was no discussion prior, like, yo, let's have it. You know what I mean? Like, we found out the same time he found out.
Yeah, that whole family is so weird, man. Honestly, like yeah, even like Snoop saying that is just like, he probably knows some stuff, like internal stuff too, and he's just like, he's Snoop Dogg, so he's gonna say whatever he wants. He doesn't have any consequences. He's a legend. But yeah, that situation, like looking from a outsider's perspective, it really is like a moment of just like, I'm happy for Kanye, because I do feel like, honestly, like when he got with Kim K, that, yeah, right, like things started to change. Like he almost started to do that where he would put himself out there to get more attention, like when he went on TMZ or whatever. Even though those moments were, in their own way, they were pretty legendary, and they were like, looking back, they were super polarizing, but they were really cool. But yeah, I kind of hope this kind of mends the relationship between him and Jay or something. Like if there is like issues with that whole situation that has to do with the Kardashians, like I hope that kind of resolves things. Like, I don't know. I just feel like there's probably a lot of people in Kanye's life that he's not surrounding himself with for those reasons,
Yo, I do feel like, remember like Jay and B didn't come to his wedding? Like that was a thing like that. I think that was like the start of like the kind of like bitterness. It was like, yo, why'd you come to my wedding? And it was kind of like, yo, that's Jay kind of, I don't know. To me, I felt like that was kind of like Jay saying like, we don't approve of this, we're not cool with, you know what I mean? Like that's what I took it as. And obviously that's what Kanye took it as, like, yo, I would imagine you would come to my wedding, right? But I don't know. To go back to, I didn't even talk about that. Like, how do we feel about this? Like you said, as a fan, I really do think that it was not a good thing for him to be in that relationship. I don't, you know what I mean? In my opinion, like I feel like when he got with her, I was like, I don't know what this is. This is obviously just like, this is like the rapper lifestyle. It's like, this is what next. After you cuff Amber Rose, like, what next? That's how I saw it. Like, yo, you date and marry Kim Kardashian, I guess. But I think he was just in that bubble for too long, like, and yeah. So,
yeah, I mean, it's just like, again, like Kanye, like I remember watching the Zane Lowe interview back in the day, right? That was like 2012. And him talking about, what he wants for the future and all this stuff. And it seemed so promising and so, visionary. And I was so excited to see, what was going to go off with Adidas and Kanye. And I still am, don't get me wrong. But it's like, yeah, I think I don't know. Again, he loved Kim Kardashian. He really did love her, and like that's super respectable. They have kids together. Like he achieved his goal, but I just don't think, again, somewhere along the way, his mental health, like everything kind of just went south. And I think, again, he's just a very different person from when he was back then. 2014 to 2020, it's crazy how much can change in 6 years. Like how much your opinion of someone could change based on like just some crazy shit that they're doing, right? And whether that was, to blame for the Kim Kardashian marriage or just like himself, like his own mental health going south, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, like some of the tweets, man, like when he's like tweeting about, Kris Jenner, like sending a doctor to go get him or something, like it's wild stuff, man.
Yeah. So just to close off here, how do we all feel about this? Like, do we all feel this is a good thing for Kanye moving forward? Like, or, do we think, no, man, he needs to keep his girl around?
I mean, I don't know. They do have kids together,
I mean, like she's obviously, they're still going to have like a co-parenting situation, right? Obviously, it's not fuck that bitch for life. Like they got 4 kids, right? Like, so yeah, you feel, they're still in a relationship. You know what I mean? Like that's life. But I'm just saying in terms of the divorce, in terms of like, I feel like we're all Kanye fans here. We all kind of grew up with him. And you just mentioned like, in the person he was in 2014, 2016, it's not the person he is right now, In terms of Kanye hopefully getting back or, us seeing a light of that Kanye, do we think that this is a good thing or like, no, this is just another him just deteriorating some more?
I think the old Kanye's gone, man. I think, but I do think I do think it's a good thing. I mean, I feel bad saying that, right? Because obviously you don't want someone's marriage to end, but I do think it's a good thing because he can now just, focus on the goals that he wants to achieve in Wyoming, right? So the manufacturing facility, the, kind of starting this journey to becoming a Steve Jobs-esque type of person. Again, like I would love more music and I would love his music to sound like the old Kanye, but I honestly, I do not think that is ever going to be a possibility again. I think he's fully focused on, manufacturing and production of the Yeezy line and the partnership with Gap and all these other things. So I just hope the best for him. I hope that he can just relax. I hope that he can get over this mental health stuff. And I hope that, maybe in the next 10 years, I can look back and say, yeah, I'm a fan of Kanye again. Because right now, I don't know how I feel about him, to be honest.
Yeah. What about you, Soy?
I'm pretty much in the same boat. It's like, I don't know. There's moments of like, I say I'm like not a huge fan right now, but I also still watch and listen to everything that he does. And it's like, I still look at him like he's like, at least like as far as artists in hip hop, he's probably the best artist of all time. Just artistry of hip hop, but so that's never going to go away, that respect. But I do think it'll end up being a good thing. Like everything happens for a reason, and he's like he believes in God now, or like he's like super adamant about that. So I hope he surrounds himself with people that are gonna just show him love, instead of that reality TV bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Just all positive vibes for Kanye moving forward.
I'm in the same boat as you guys. Like, I think obviously it's not a good thing for a marriage to end, but I think this is a good thing, for the growth and betterment of Kanye West. I remember I watched the Joe Rogan podcast, the interview he did, like however long it was, a 3-hour long thing. And it was dope. Like, I felt like I still saw like the Kanye that we know and love in there, the personality. And I was just like, man, he has so many goals, I'm like, yeah. And I was like, you know what I mean? I don't know how you're doing this and being a family man, but I think this is a solution, fam. So I think now he can accomplish. He has so many goals, and that was really that was what Joe Rogan kept asking him, like when he kept bringing up something. He was like, "Yo, so at what point in the day do you do this?" And he's like, "Yo, I drive my kids to school every day, and then spend the day at school with them." And I'm like, "Yo, so when are you doing all this shit?"
It doesn't add up. It doesn't.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that was awesome.
So it was dope, but it just seemed like you could tell, like the interview kept being like Joe Rogan kept having to, pull him back. Like they would start on a thought and he would just be like, yo, this is what's going on. We have all this, and they would just like drift away from that. And they would be like, all right, so you didn't answer the question though. You know what I mean? And yeah, I think there needs to be more focus in his life, and this is probably going to help him out. So we'll see how this goes. Again, like you said, he's one of the greatest in the genre, so every time his name pops up, we're obviously going to give a fuck, so yeah. I wish all the best for Kanye West. On to our next topic, which is also involving Kanye West. So just after the rumors, before it was even confirmed that the divorce was actually real, it was also dropped like the next day by some TikTok girl saying, yo, Kanye is hooking up with a famous TikToker who is a makeup guru, right? And is a male, and she's like, everyone in the community knows this, so she's the one that started this, right? It's so crazy how like fucking I saw the video, man. I'm like, how is this a legitimate source of anything? Like, but yeah, now everyone.
Isn't she the one that licked the toilet or something?
Yes, bro. She's the one who licked the toilet seat. Ava Louise licked the toilet seat for the coronavirus challenge. How is anyone listening to a toilet seat licker? Like, that's disgusting, man. But I tell you what.
It was on an airplane too. It wasn't just any toilet seat. It was
an airplane.
Airplane.
It's not even your own toilet seat. It's the airplane toilet seat she licked. I remember seeing that video and almost gagging when I saw that on TikTok. I thought, okay, that's enough internet for me today. But I tell you what, she got me. I almost believed it. I was like 90% sure that this shit was real because, she dropped it and then it blew up. And then people were, investigating, like Jeffree Star has a ranch in Wyoming. So I thought, whoa, this is kind of adding up. And there was like, a photo of him, like he did like a selfie, but you could see like, or not a selfie, like someone took a picture of him and you could see like the reflection in his sunglasses, and people were like zooming in on that and being like, yo, that's Kanye right there. To see, we didn't know. So I was like, and then Keemstar from Drama Alert ran with it. I sent that video to Show and I thought, oh my God, if he's having her on here, like maybe this is real. Like it was but no, it's not real. And we'll talk about that.
Why do you think it's not real?
So it essentially kind of just like came out that she was capping. Like I think she ended up posting another video later being like, nah. And or I guess the main source himself, Jeffree Star, denied this. Like he posted a video on YouTube. I can't even believe I had to watch this first time. I have no idea who this guy is. I don't watch gurus on YouTube. And the fact that I even have to know who this guy's name is because of this drama is so gross to me. It's so disgusting. But yeah, I watched his video for like a bit and he just explained that like he was caught off guard by these rumors. He's shocked. No, he's not hooking up with Kanye West. And he was kind of just like giving into it for like the memes. Like when people were asking him like, what's he doing? He posted a picture on Instagram, I'm ready for Sunday service. Obviously people know Sunday service is Kanye West thing. So he was kind of playing into it. He even texted Keemstar being like, yo, I'm having a great time in Wyoming, come up. Like people were like, whoa, like that seems like legit. But no, he's just fucking around. He is not doing that with Kanye. Who knows why this Ava Louise chick thought maybe she just wanted some more 15 minutes of fame. She thought, fuck, I like the toilet seat and now my fame is going away. I need to re-up somehow.
Yo, that really, really, really dents your credibility, like the fact
pretty much destroys anything that she had is gone after you figure it. And an airplane seat too. Do you know how much ass is on an airplane seat?
Bro, it was called the COVID challenge. So the whole purpose of it is to
lick the toilet seat and get COVID.
I wish she got COVID and she died.
This is disgusting, man.
Yeah, that's crazy, bro. I think she still has. Yeah, man, that was crazy. I saw another video when you sent me that one. I just to reference the source, and it was exactly that same thing. So it's like, yeah, just so like this source. Just a couple months ago, she was licking a toilet seat like on an airplane. I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
I was at a challenge.
Even the video where she broadcast this, it just shows it. It's TikTok, so it's not supposed to be the most professional thing, right? But I mean, it's crazy to me that the source of this rumor that's taken a life of its own is a TikTok video, you know what I mean? That is just, it literally took her less than a minute to make, and the information is inaccurate, but that's just how fucking wild that app is, right? Yeah. Anyways, so I'm glad you believe it's not true. When you sent it to me as well, I was just like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Kanye doing all these Sunday services and hooking up with this dude? Like,
well, it's funny because like
what
a lot
the
of people
hell?
who like are really, really into religion hardcore are like sometimes covering up for the fact that they're secretly gay. So I was like, that's another layer to it. I was like, no way, no way. This is so nasty. My sister was like, yo, what are you going to do if your favorite rapper's out here sucking dick? And I was like, oh my God, no, please. Like, no.
What are you going to do?
You've lost all argument. anytime you want to be like, yo, who has the best verse? You're like, yo, at least he ain't sucking dick.
Yo, you can't say these things. Dude. Yeah, that's crazy. The fucking, man, what was I going to say?
But yeah.
It's a little off topic, but my dad was like telling me how he wanted to start a TikTok. I wanted to fly over there and just slap him. I was so mad when he said that.
Yo, he wants
like,
Jesus talk.
It has so much power though. Like that's what we're also talking about. We're talking about how it's crazy how inaccurate information went viral, but the second part of that is shit went viral, like shit that was barely professional, barely, it just had appeal to it and it went viral. So you know what I mean? Like that's where I was going with that. But it's 2021. We're accepting of all different sexualities. I think we've gotten some inappropriate jokes off in the last couple minutes. trying to air the.
This will come up in 10 years when we're canceled.
Trying to save us. But yeah. I'm glad it's not true. You know what I mean? Like when I saw it, I was like, nah, this can't be true. And I'm glad it's not. I'm glad homie came out. And because I think when you sent it to me, it was still early. Like you sent it to me at the time when dude was egging it on as well. He was posting that picture and I was like, why, you know what I mean? Like, why are you doing this? Why are you trying to taint this image? But I'm glad he made a video and clarified everything. So you don't really focus much on this.
That would suck too. Just by the way, like waking up and opening your phone and just seeing a bunch of like gay rumors and like you're dating someone. Like obviously that comes with the territory of being a celebrity and stuff. But like that sucks. So that girl who did that sucks. You're a piece of shit. And
so did she print? I mean, I want to say did she print a retraction? But
I think she just made another TikTok.
Really?
She just made another TikTok, essentially, just being like, "Yo, I was capping, pretty much." Like,
I'm a liar.
Yeah, like
my first thought when it came out, I thought it was Kris Jenner that leaked the information or something. I don't know why.
Of course,
I was like, this bitch.
Yeah, no, I mean, it actually that crossed my mind too, because I was like, oh, if Kim and Kanye are getting divorced and Kris Jenner just tried to leak this to like make Kanye kind of seem like the bad guy or in this divorce or placing blame on it, like that seems like some Calabasas type like manipulation that would be going on over there. Like that I definitely understand that, man. Yeah, I thought that too.
Did you see the headline of it was also KimYe and Van, one of the CNN anchors?
Wow.
It was one of the dudes from like the black dude. I forget his name, but that was also headline because it just didn't take. No, not Dom. Dom's gay. The one that's not gay. But basically, Van. Yeah. Basically, yeah, they said that was happening as well. So I don't know. I thought it was KimYe spreading the rumor because she's like, of course she's dating, the eligible bachelor from Oregon. I don't even know if he's a bachelor, but the eligible dude from CNN, and Kanye is dating a trans. So, like that sounds like a bitter ex rumor. And no, dude is not a trans, my bad. I think he's a dude that does makeup. But yeah, let's move away from this.
Yeah. Let's get out of this. Red tweets.
Ak versus Rory is our next topic here. So yeah, Academics, who was a hip hop dude on Everyday Struggle, which ended last year. So crazy, like that's now we talk about that in past tense. But yeah, instrumental show in the birth of like hip hop podcast, type media, because Joe Budden kind of came from there and he's doing his own thing now. But yeah, Academics has beef with Rory from the Joe Budden podcast. And basically, the beef started apparently, allegedly, with Rory sending over a gift card to his house. I think it was like maybe them clowning him for being like, they're saying like Ack is broke, he doesn't own his shit or something. Like that's where it started. So yeah, so we sent him a gift card and then sent some goons to his house. And I'm like, what? Rory sent some goons? That doesn't sound accurate. Anyways, and so it's just turned into like, I always see clips like Ack is just like always roasting them on his stream. And then, yeah, like, I guess like, I don't know how this information got to Ack, but Ack basically like went on a stream and said, yo, I got some information, you know, that you're cheating on your girl, you know, blah, blah, blah. You know, I dare you to say anything, man. If you say anything, I'm going to leak the rest of the information. And I don't think Rory's addressed it, you know, and this has been a couple of days ongoing. And of course it was, I think initially was like, I'm not going to say anything, but if you test me, then I'm going to leak everything. But I think Ack has just kept like, you know, Ack does this every night, right? He's on that Henny, you know, so I think he just leaked the information one way or another, basically saying that Rory has a side chick. He's hiding from his fiance. And he bought this side chick a Birkin. I think that means something, man, because the Birkin is a very expensive bag, right? So, you know, you don't just buy any side chick a Birkin, you know. You know, it's you know what I mean? Like
the rule of buying Birkin. It's not for just any chick.
Yeah, that's a lot of information.
For your favorite side chick. I'm sorry.
And so, yeah, in the last like week or so, Rory has not attended the Joe Budden podcast. And it's not because he's sick, you know, we've not confirmed what it is. So yeah, you know, this is definitely like some ongoing smoke. What do you make of this, Soy?
Well, I don't even know, like, because they joked about it on the podcast, like where Roy was saying, like, I think they were jokingly saying it like it wasn't true, where he's like, oh no, it was my fiance that did that, whatever. So I'm not sure if it's totally true. I feel like Academics I don't know if I ever remember him lying, to be honest.
I don't think he lies, man. That's why I fuck with Ack, man. Because Ack's platform is honest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everyone
honest.
hates him, but it's like, yo, it's the truth. Everyone's following him as well, like, right? Yeah, where were you going with that? Yeah, Ack.
That was all. I just don't imagine that. But I can't imagine that he sent goons. I just don't see, like, I don't know. Maybe he did.
He's specifically Guyanese goons.
What is that, Guyanese?
It's like a place in Africa, you know. So,
oh, cool.
Literally sent some like black guys, you know. I'm like, this is Rory, you know, like some immigrant goons. Where did he get that hookup?
He does do Say Palooza. And so he has close affiliations with Jay-Z, because I'm pretty sure Jay-Z is an owner of Duce. Is it Duce? I don't know. But
yeah, Duce is the name of it.
I know Jay-Z. I think Jay-Z has goons, right? I would assume. Jay-Z.
Yeah, let me actually look up Guyanese, because I don't actually know. I was thinking of Ghana there for a second. Does anyone know how to spell Guyanese?
Absolutely not.
Why?
Guyanese.
Just put Guy and then Indies.
Guyanese is a country on South America's North Atlantic coast. It's identified by its rainforest. All right, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. All right, so it sounds like there's Latin people there.
Okay.
But still, you know, it's like, how does Rory know people from fucking... We can't even pronounce this place, you know what I mean? Like Rory
to drop off the letter? Like what? It seems a bit excessive to send a bunch of people to drop off some mail. Did they go in his house? Like, what is he like? What's the real issue?
I think they said he dropped off some gift cards. I think the joke was like that because Ack is on Complex, you know, he's just getting paid his salary. You know, they don't owe him.
Yeah.
He doesn't own the thing or whatever.
He makes bank though.
But yeah, of course. And, you know, so they try to clown him by sending him like a gift card. I think that's the sum of that joke. Because all his jokes on his, like, to them is like, yo, they're broke. Like, they work for Joe Budden.
Right.
That's usually the ongoing joke. But until he got this bit of information that now he's holding over him. So yeah, I think that's what the insult was. It's like, yo, here's a gift card, to go buy something, right? Maybe like a meal or something.
Yeah.
And yeah, Ak. Every time I see the clips, and I don't even, you can see he's so fired up. So I don't know if Ak is just, I don't know if he's so hurt about it or if it's just the Henny, like I don't know if, I don't know if it's real.
I think he has a drinking problem. Is what it is.
100%. He has a drinking problem, and his fucking people, his chat group, his chat niggas, they enable him. Because they always on there. He's like, yo, chat, should I open another bottle? Everyone's like, yo, crack the bottle. Yo, no, throw away the cup. They're all, because that's literally what his live is. He goes live and he's just drinking, and like, people are feeding him questions. He's just talking about hip hop, right? Like, so this, and so can imagine it's like a lit thing, but he's really just drinking by himself, So it's, I can see that would be a problem,
One thing about Ak is that he's really good at moving the conversation to however he wants it to be. And so that's one thing to keep in mind. He has he does have a lot of power right now, to be honest, as far as like perception and like, yeah, like I see him on there doing that to Rory, and I'm just like, damn, like he's not going to do anything physically to you, but like on this, he knows how to use the internet in a way that's going to make you look crazy. You know what I mean? He might, I can't imagine that he'd be lying though, because I don't think he does that. So
I think for sure they started the smoke. I don't see Ak being the person that would have started, for sure they started the smoke by like picking on him or whatever, like calling him out or whatever. And they did it on the podcast. And then obviously like, that's one thing I've noticed with Ak is just petty, like Ak is literally still beefing with Nav from something that happened like before I knew who Ak was, you know what I mean? Like, but every single time like Nav comes up, or as album is doing, like when his album went #1 of all things, it still was like, Ak is a numbers guy. He refused to talk about that,
That's true.
He's just like, every time his name comes up, he's like, oh, Nav's new song is fire. Like, oh shit, I heard the version without him on it. You know what I mean? Like he's just, and that's why all his beefs with like Freddie Gibbs, like all these different Meek Mill, they're all ongoing because like, it was some little thing that happened and he's just kept it going on, And so that's the situation right now. It was whatever happened. Maybe it was this gift card thing. Maybe it was them talking about him. And, it's just turned into like every single time he's streaming, there's going to be a portion of the stream where he's going to, oh, yo, did I diss Rory today? Maybe even the chat guys will remind him, you've not dissed these guys today, but it's a consistent thing. And then he finally got this thing over him. And like, yeah, I don't know. I think at this point, Rory and them probably have reached out to try to apologize and be like, yo, bro, you need to chill. But the Ak being like, oh shit, now y'all want to apologize.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm going to keep doing this. It's lit. But
well, that kind of stuff is going to bleed into someone's real life. So it is pretty messed up doing that.
For sure. Man, and that's the thing, man. A lot of these people say like, that's exactly what chat room was. Like, Ak entered this app. Clubhouse was. He entered this app where, a bunch of people are, and everyone like came to confront him, even though it was like virtual. But it's like, that's the thing. Like you never see Ak around, right? Like I feel like Ak is the kind of person that like, if all these people are trying to fight him, right? Basically Meek, all these, everyone is trying to run into him, but he's like, he's probably securityed up, doesn't move.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's fucked up what Ak is doing for sure. Definitely if there's some beef shit going on, obviously anything goes, but it's like, there should be some like, is this the same issue with like Pusha T and Drake, right? It was like, yo, we beefing, but it's like, come on, bro. Like,
they gotta leave family out, man. Like, enough of this.
Kind of took it too far, bro. But there's always the dude on the other side that was like, no, we beefing. When we beefing, when you beef with me, it's like this. But yeah, it's fucked up, but it is what it is, man. Yeah, hopefully the cat's out of the bag now, because I don't know. Like, I think Ak is still making it seem like, yo, I'm not. If I'm gonna leak the information, but it's like, at this what you've said is enough to already cause problems for him.
But you've said it 6 times already.
So Yeah, let's hope he can save his marriage or fiance engagement forward. On to our next topic here: Nicki Minaj and Tracy Chapman. So we just kind of like debriefed ourselves on this before starting. But Tracy Chapman, well, Nicki Minaj had a song on her 2018 album that didn't make the cut, but it eventually leaked, and apparently it leaked to the internet and the radio. So when it leaks to the internet and radio, basically, I just feel like when it's on radio, the label is making money from the song, right? Like it's everyone, the DJs are making money from the song. Like so it wasn't just a leaked song anymore, right? And so whoever was in the sample, Tracy Chapman, even though it wasn't officially released, that was the big dispute here, was able to be like, yo, you sampled my shit, and I know you didn't officially release it, but you're a big artist, you know. I'm seeing like, yo, I'm sure the YouTube version has a ton of views, right? Like, she's like, yo, give me my money, like. And basically, she won the case, and Nicki had to settle for almost $500,000, $450,000. So yeah, what do we think about this? I think this was kind of an issue because people were like, yo, if you can sue someone for putting out something you sampled on the internet for free, then every mixtape should not exist, you know, even shit that just gets put on SoundCloud, you know. To be like,
yeah,
that was where people were coming from, like, yo, and that's probably the dispute. It was like, yo, I didn't put this out on the album. It's not even on Spotify, right? So she's like, why are you trying to collect money from me?
Right.
So yeah, you're gonna say Paxton?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying Mac Miller had, you know, first of all, rest in peace to Mac Miller, but this happened to him too with his kids mixtape. So he got sued for the sample usage. I think it was Kool-Aid and Frozen Pizza was the song he had. I think it was that one, right? And he had the sample that he had used from a different track from another hip hop artist. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but he successfully sued Mac Miller and had to settle. Mac Miller had to settle with him out of court for an unspecified amount of money, but it was a significant amount. And, you know, the argument was that, you know, hey, Mac Miller released the kids mixtape for free online, right? But then, you know, the other guy proved in court that, you know, Mac Miller, yes, the mixtape was free, but Mac Miller was able to make money off this mixtape by, you know, touring and gaining success and, you know, the YouTube videos and the music, all that kind of stuff. So said, look, even though, yes, your mixtape is technically free, it's not an album, you're still profiting off this, and you didn't ask me for the sample usage, and was able to successfully do that. So it's not the first time we've seen a situation like this go down. With this being said, though, obviously, you know, Nicki probably wanted that song on the album. So I'm assuming that they had reached out to Tracy's team, either record label or management, whatever it is. And, you know, Tracy herself had just said, no, I'm not going to clear that sample. I don't like it. And then, you know, they just proceeded to leak the song anyways online, right? And a lot of the times when somebody, quote unquote, leaks a song online, they do it to try to garner some sort of like hype surrounding the album or surrounding the track, right? So I don't know. Personally, I didn't listen to that song, Sorry, by Nicki. Has anyone else listened to it?
No.
No, I have no idea. Okay, so this is tough to talk about because I actually haven't heard the sample itself within the song. Has anyone else?
It doesn't really matter what it is.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, that's true, I guess. I guess the result is this, right? Like, you know, in the hip hop world, you know, hip hop is based off of sampling, right? Like that's a core part of making hip hop music, and it has been for quite some time. So it's always tricky, you know, to get around sample clearance and stuff. But ultimately, I think this just has to be a lesson for younger hip hop artists in the game. You know, it may seem like you're hurting nobody, and it's just fine. I'm just making a track, and honestly, if you're small enough, yeah, maybe you can get away with it on SoundCloud or something like that, right? Or on a YouTube. But once you know, are a giant artist like Nicki Minaj, you obviously have to do your due diligence and everything. And if it's, you know, if you sample something that isn't cleared and the music is making money, like you said, show on the radio or whatever it is, then the reality is like you're going to get sued. Because the other thing too is once the internet takes a hold of something, they can kind of just run with it. So if your song gets leaked online and it's a really good song, at that point you really have no control over who's listening to it, where is it getting posted. Some fans could be making pages on YouTube and posting it there. Some random radio DJs across the world could be like, yo, I got this new Nicki Minaj track, I'm going to play it right now. All that kind of stuff, right? So yeah, it's an unfortunate situation, but at the same time, you know, it makes sense.
But yeah, this is proof that like, yeah, once I think I agree with you. Once if you're a big enough artist, the same thing with Mac Miller. He was, he did have that notoriety where it was like, yo, sampling this, where even if I'm not gonna put it on platforms, is gonna make me some money, right? So you just have to have that foresight. And yeah, especially with Nicki Minaj, your team should have just cleared that. But this just means, like, especially when you're an artist as big as Nicki Minaj, that leaks really do cost you money. Not only can you not profit from that song if that was a song that you were gonna like put out, but like just because you're so big, you know, you leaking and saying, all right, fuck that song. You can't even have that mindset. You can't say fuck that song because your fans are gonna find that song. And then some chick like this is saying, yo, I saw that song has 1 million views on so. You know, your fans are singing the words at your concert, you know, you owe me $500,000. So it's basically leaks cost money, you know. That's everyone needs to hold your shit tighter. We never even heard back. Remember it was a story about Sway Lee's like hard drive. We never heard about that, man. I thought it was fake, man.
Is that real though?
Do you remember like he said he got his hard drive stolen that like had all his music. He made like a thing saying like, yo, I'll pay you guys $20,000 if you we talked about it. Yeah. $20,000 if you guys can give me back or find my hard drive and give it back to me. And then some dude like entered his live saying he had it and he was wearing like a V for Vendetta mask. Like really fucking spooky shit. He had like a voice emulator shit as well. And I was like, yo, he showed like all the contents of his bag and you see like Sway Lee looked shook and he showed the hard drive and he was like, what? And then he like got off the live. And then, yeah, I don't know. People thought it was fake. We never heard back. So I don't know. But yeah, people should just do a better job of keeping their shit tight, you know. Back in the CD day, it used to be that, you know, they used to send it over to wherever the CDs got manufactured, usually China. And then there, you don't know who the fuck has it, you know. And this is almost like they had a department for like just leaking shit before they took it to the production place. But yeah, during the CD days, you know what I mean? Like an album is coming out in 2 weeks, like, all right, cool, I can torrent it right now. You know what I mean? Like that's what getting your CD out, man. But I feel like in the streaming era, it's like, as long as you have your hard drive and copies, maybe clouds, then you should be able to keep track of leaks. But yeah, no doubt in my mind, I believe that this was an official release that the label disguised as a leak so that they would avoid clearing the sample, you know, because if they did reach out to her earlier, it sounds like, yo, we have X amount of money to pay you for the sample right now. And she's like, no, I don't want you. I don't like the version. And Nicki's like, I really like the song though. I think my fans are going to rock with it. The label's like, don't worry about it. We'll just leak it. But the radio's got it officially, you know, that if that thing got 1 million radio plays, they'll get a plaque for it, even though it's a leak.
Yeah.
So that's the reality of it.
Yeah, I think you're right, Joe. I totally agree. And again, just a lesson to younger artists, going back to that Mac Miller situation, right? Like, sorry, I just looked it up. Lord Finesse was the guy who sued Mac Miller. So he sued him for $10 million. And Mac, when he...
yeah, that sounds like the name of a dude that...
Yo, I'm about to
sue people for this.
I'm about to Finesse $10 million. Like, no, but here's the thing. Like, Mac Miller, when he dropped Kids, he was unknown, completely unknown. He had... I think I remember watching the YouTube video for one of his songs, and it had 18,000 views on it. Like, literally nobody... you know, had known who this kid was. So it's just a lesson to younger artists. Like if you're trying to use a sample on a mixtape to try to blow yourself up and start your career, like it might work. It might make your music better and it might get you more exposure, but down the line, somebody might come looking for that and say, hey,
true.
Happened. So yeah.
Word.
Yeah. They need to figure that out. They need to really cause I mean, like, fuck. A lot of people don't have Nicki Minaj's. If Nicki Minaj couldn't afford or couldn't get the sample cleared, who the hell is gonna be able to do that?
I don't think it was an affording thing, right? It almost seems like because she has the label backing her. And
didn't like it.
She's directly with Universal. They would pay whatever for it, you know. So yeah, it seemed like it was and that's usually what it comes down. That's the issue with sampling is that you have to clear it with the original creator. It always has to be like, you know, a lot of times. Sometimes they might have a situation where it's like. They just have like a fixed rate and, you know, they know people sample it a lot. So they're like, yo, if you're sampling 15 seconds, here's how much. If you're sampling 30 seconds, here's how much, right? But then you have the people that are like, you know, maybe it's like culturally relevant to them or, you know, just emotional to them. They need to hear what you did with it. Maybe you're doing something vulgar within was like initially like a clean record or something. They're like, no, I don't like this version. So shit like that. The original composer can always say like, I don't like your flip. You know what I mean? I don't like the sample. I don't like what you did with it. So and that's the issue. You're right. That's always, it's instrumental in hip hop, and that's always been a thing. Like when you make an album for a label with all the tracks on it, you're really playing a numbers game. You know what I mean? Because they're not going to be able to clear everything. There's always going to be some fucker out there like Lord Finesse just waiting to fuck you up.
Still out there, guys.
Yeah.
Oh wow, what was that? You want to sample my record?
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like Shaka Khan too, right? Like Shaka Khan allowed Kanye to sample Through the Fire for Through the Wire, right? And I think she came out later and was like, yeah, I didn't like the way that he pitched my voice up or whatever, but I let him run with it, and it is what it is. So
sometimes that bag helps you make that, makes you clarify. You're like, oh shit, I'm getting paid for this, so I guess I can deal with that pitch.
Yeah.
I'm sure she's made a lot of money off the royalties from that record. You know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
So
for sure.
that was a good decision made in the long run. But yeah, so a lesson to younger artists and a lesson to the bigger artists, to take these leaks seriously. It's like, yo, these leaks really do be costing money. That literally one song that's not on Spotify costs you $500,000. That's kind of crazy. But yeah. On to our next topic here, an unfortunate topic. At the end of 2020, we got word that MF Doom passed. Very unfortunate. MF Doom is definitely a legend in the hip hop scene. Definitely described as an underground artist, just because of his unorthodox sound. Like he definitely wasn't making anything for the charts, but in the culture of hip hop, he was on the charts, metaphorically. But yeah, so definitely a legend. One of my favorite producers, Madlib, did a project with him that I only discovered maybe in like 2018. Mad Villain or Mad Villainy.
Mm-hmm.
That is a classic. That is a classic album. Actually, I've done some freestyles over some beats on there. Very solid project. And yeah, I've just checked out a couple of his stuff as well. Like MF Doom is a producer himself, right? So he's done a lot of projects that are produced by him. And yeah, he has a very unique approach to producing, to sampling, very J Dilla-esque, but I wouldn't even say that. Like it's definitely, he's definitely in his own lane. Always had the rare samples, was always able to mash them up in unique ways. And then his flows, he definitely, as an MC, he was definitely that dude as well. So yeah, I guess we're just remembering MF Doom, So how do you feel about this, Soy?
It was definitely super random. I'm pretty certain that Dawson hit up the group chat, or I believe it was Dawson, and said that, and I confirmed it, and I was like, what? Because I definitely wasn't like super into his music growing up, but I've always known who he was. Like when I started listening to hip hop, you just know who MF Doom is if you're involved in hip hop, and so I definitely when I was still writing just to practice, I remember watching and listening to his rhyme schemes and patterns, and I adopted a lot of those things. Like he does something where he's rhyming and he'll keep rhyming, and then you think you're gonna know the rhyme he's gonna use at the end of a bar, but he changes it up totally. Just the way he structures his rhyme schemes are very, very unique to him. And I did, that influenced me a lot in how I do it. And you can hear his influence in a lot of newer acts. The first person that comes to mind that I hear him and I'm like, MF Doom is definitely his favorite rapper, is Earl. I've always thought Earl it's almost the same, the way they rap. But yeah, he's a pioneer, definitely going to be missed. And yeah, very unfortunate. And he died at 49. Is that right? Yeah. That's very young in the grand scope of things. My dad's like 61, right? So if he died when he was 49, that'd be horrible. So prayers go to his family for sure. And legend, and he'll always be remembered, at least in the sphere of hip hop, and he'll probably go down as one of the greatest.
Well said. Well said. Yeah, rest in peace, MF Doom, man. He's such a legend in the game. I feel like he's inspired so many of the new rappers we hear today. Like you said, I agree. Earl for sure, Tyler as well. Again, like people always say, MF Doom is your favorite rapper's favorite rapper, right? And the thing that always, amazed me about MF Doom was his ability to, he was a big artist, right? But yet he was still like underground. That's the crazy thing. Like everybody knew who MF Doom was, and anybody who was in the rap game knew who he was, but yet he still was able to maintain this kind of like cool underground status. Like I haven't sold out, always making great music. I remember the first time I heard his album Food, it was amazing. Like the production was always incredible. Man, it's just like, I think the crazy thing too is that he passed at the end of October and we only found out at the end of December. And the fact that the family was able to kind of keep that under wraps and just keep it tight is like really surprising to me, especially in the age of the internet where everything leaks like the second it happens. I read a lot of people being like, yeah, only MF Doom could keep his death a secret for this long and stuff like that. Like it's an MF Doom thing to do, and I totally agree. So I hope his family is doing well. I hope anyone who's an MF Doom fan who's listening right now is, listening to his music and just kind of enjoying who he was as an artist. He's, just a legend. And again, like I'm in Kensington right now and in Calgary, Alberta, and there's a mural being painted for MF Doom right now. It's just on the main drive on the side of this like sushi restaurant. It's awesome. It's looking really great. So I can't wait to see the photos once it's done. But yeah, rest in peace to MF Doom, man, a legend forever.
Word. Very true, man. I was just gonna say, like I heard like he basically was like retreated off on some island or something. Like that's where he was living. He's pretty like retracted in his last couple years. But yeah, man, the dude was a private dude. He wore a mask all the time. I literally don't even know what his real face looks like. So yeah, I can imagine. I don't like, to me, I don't see that as a hard thing. Like I'm sure there's people who collaborated with him that never saw his face. I can imagine he wore that mask in the studio.
That's pretty epic.
Because it's part of the thing. So yeah. Rest in peace to MF Doom.
Rest in peace.
Last topic in our global here, tension between M and Snoop arises. So both legends in the rap game, both came up under the tutelage of, the legend Dr. Dre. We didn't even talk about that, man. Dr. Dre had what was it? Like a brain aneurysm?
Brain aneurysm.
Yeah. Aneurysm, yep.
Yeah. But he's fully recovered. So get well, continue to get well, Dr. Dre. But yeah, word. Both these guys came up under Dr. Dre's tutelage. Both found success in their own lanes and in different times, and they're both doing their own thing. But obviously, I think this all started with an interview where Snoop said M is not in his top 5. So do you want to take this away, because you know more about like where we're at right now? So get to like where we're at right now.
So Snoop went in an interview and he basically said that M is not in his top 10 and that he could live without his music. And then M responded to him as M does on his album, and he just took a shot, which I don't know. Looking back, like I understand, but at the same time, it's like I don't know. But and then Snoop recently went on his Instagram live, and it sounded like he has a song where there's like a ton of subliminal shots, not even subliminal, like shots at M, like naming all of his albums and stuff. And then I think the thing that's escalating it even more is the media, like hip hop media, is kind of taking this because it's going to get people views, right? So they're taking this and they're doing these what ifs and they're kind of exaggerating the beef. Like there was a clubhouse where Royce and Just Blaze were having to defend Eminem. And like a bunch of people saying that they could live, like they don't even think he should be hailed as the rapper he is. And like just a lot of people trying to, tear down his legacy.
Was Joe Budden one of those people?
No, he was actually defending him. But,
oh, fuck.
Believe it or not, yeah. I was like, what the fuck? Well, because Joe is like he's an MC, so he knows. But, yeah, it's pretty crazy. I don't know. I guess the thing is, though, it's like M is literally not saying anything and people are still just like talking about him. This is like his 20th year in rap. So I think that's pretty impressive. But I do hope the beef doesn't go anywhere. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yo, man, I just feel like they're both like, especially with, I just feel like with Dre, like God forbid, Dre like having this situation, ending up in the hospital, like both of them are obviously going to visit him, and yeah, man, I feel like this is that scene in the first Godfather where the Godfather is sick and those guys are trying to kill him. So they have to like, they know where he's at. He's vulnerable in like the hospital. And so Michael and, the other strangers have to like move his room and then go and like, scare the guys that are coming to come kill him, like act like they have guns outside. Anyways, where I was going with this is basically, it's kind of like Michael was always like, yo, I don't want to be part of the family business. He was a soldier. He didn't want to be involved in crime and all that shit. But on that night, like where they were trying to like kill his dad, like, he was like, yo, fuck all that. I'm here for dad, and they were all by his bedside that night. Like all the brothers didn't get along, Anyways, where I was going with that is like, I kind of feel like that's what this is. Like, with Dre having this situation and obviously he's recovered now, he's going to have a full recovery. They're probably both at his bedside, like, yo, what are we doing? Why are we beefing, I'm hoping that's how it goes, but I can also see like it not going that way. I can also see them arguing at his bedside, like, but yeah, hopefully, I hope it goes the latter, because yeah, like they're both like they literally, I think that Dr. Dre and he literally had like the same influence in both their careers. He literally gave both of them that first opportunity to show the world that, oh, yo, these guys are stars. You know what I mean? If they didn't have if Dr. Dre did not exist, we would not know who these guys are. You know what I mean? So they have that mutual thing in common where it's like, yo, we're at this place where we can argue in front of the world stage because of this dude. You know what I mean? Like, and it's almost like, I don't know, there should just be that kind of like mutual, respect, and I think the disrespect did start with Snoop. And you would think the OG would give the respect, but yeah, I think it just comes down to both of them moving forward, And I'm hoping that this will happen, this situation with Dr. Dre will make them both be like, yo, we're being petty, because I remember the same thing like that. This is what I'm bringing up, like when Dr. Dre and Eazy-E, they always had a beef. They literally had diss records back and forth. He left their label. There was all this back and forth, but when Eazy-E got AIDS, right, and it was inevitable he was gonna die, right? They visited him in the hospital. All Dre and everyone that was opposing, and they squashed that beef, right? I don't know. I just feel like hip hop is it's so intense sometimes, that I just feel like people get caught in the moment of things, and then sometimes like real world shit happens, and just it reminds people. Again, I don't know what the details of this beef is, but it's not that intense. You know what I mean? It's not that serious. Where it's like, it's gonna go anywhere that's serious next. But again, I don't know. But I'm hoping. Like, well, that's what I'm saying. I'm hoping that they see the bigger picture and they chill the fuck out. Were you gonna say something, Fax?
Yeah, I'm just, it just sucks that this is even a thing, right? So it's interesting. Like, as a hip hop artist, whenever you put out your feelings on music or new music or old music, whatever it is, like, oh, what do you think about this artist? What do you think? You know what I mean? You're always going to come under some level of scrutiny because people could take it as a diss, right? Like, you being like, oh, you don't listen to my music? Oh, that means you don't fuck with me. I'm pissed at you now, right? Like, the thing about what Snoop said is Snoop essentially compared Eminem to like the greats from like the 80s, right? And said that Eminem, in my opinion, he was like, in my personal opinion, Eminem can't hang with these, greats from the 80s, right? And he said he's not my top 5 of all time. Eminem came back later, obviously, after Snoop had said all this, and said, I'm okay with what he said. I'm okay with all that. That's fine. Eminem's never come out here and said, hey, I'm better than the rappers that came before me, blah, blah, blah. I don't even need to be in your top 5. That's fine. I don't care. But the key word that Snoop said was, I could live without that music. Like, I could live without his music. And I feel like that's almost a little bit uncalled for, because there's like a difference between just expressing your musical opinion. Yeah, this rapper's not in my top 5. Yeah, I think these other rappers are better than this rapper. Okay, cool. But then there's a difference being like, yeah, I actually don't need that music at all. Like, I don't need that. That's kind of lame, especially because Snoop and M, have obviously, worked together and made great music and stuff like that. So I feel like that was kind of unnecessary for Snoop to say. And then, obviously Eminem wasn't happy with that, right? And I think the thing about M too is, it's not his fault that people call him the GOAT, right? Like, he's known as like the GOAT in rap. He's like one of the best rappers of all time. That's not his fault. He just made great music. And I think a lot of rappers, they almost look at Eminem as like overhyped, or like, too many people say he's the GOAT. And so they almost have to always inject a reason as to why they don't think Eminem is the greatest, because it's like so many people do think that they're like, nah, here's my unpopular opinion about Eminem. Like, I feel like every rapper for some reason just has to come out and say that either they're just like not thrilled that he's, ranked better than them in hip hop, or whatever it is, right? So, that's like, again, M's just chilling, doing his own thing. And then he has to hear this from like someone he thought was his friend. Like, oh, on the other side of the coin, though, we did hear that apparently Eminem refused a recent collaboration with Snoop Dogg and has potentially upset him or something like that. That was like leaked out on some Clubhouse audio or something like that. So I'm not sure if that's true or not, but yeah, ultimately we've seen beef in rap escalate from things that are just kind of like side comments. So I hope that this doesn't escalate further, and that they can just kind of, come together and just be like, yeah, this is stupid. Obviously M, responded to Snoop in his track, and then Snoop kind of dropped a comment on Instagram on like a random fan page being like, pray I don't respond to that weak ass shit, 2 laughing emojis. It's just unnecessary. Sorry. It's just unnecessary at this point. It's just unnecessary. So yeah. Yeah.
Word. I think it was Academics he probably commented on. But yeah, messed up. Yeah, man, I hope these are fucking both like statesmen in the rap game, like these are the examples they're supposed to be setting examples, you know what I mean? I hope they just wake the fuck up and and realize they're too old to be beefing for real. Like, yo,
they should just do a song.
Too much effort out of us. Yeah.
Yeah, like they should just do a song and come together. They're both OGs in the game
as well, though.
One of my favorite songs off Marshall Mathers LP is Bitch Please 2, and Snoop's on that track, and he kills his verse. Exhibit, all that. That shit is so fire. I would love them to do like a Dre production, and they all just get together and just make music.
Word, man. But yeah, I hope they fix things, and this doesn't escalate any further. And that concludes our global news in hip hop.
All right, on to the national news, which is sort of it's we saw it from Canada. So the capital has been raided by Vikings. So I guess what happened, which I'm a little cloudy on, but I'm gonna just throw some things out there. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. The Trump supporters that are super into Trump have a lot of conspiracy theories about this election and how the election was rigged or whatever. And this has been an ongoing thing since Joe Biden was the president-elect. And so this whole time, I'm pretty certain that, you haven't really heard too much from Trump because he's been busy trying to stay president, which is, well, great president, man. Well, fuck. But yeah, so I feel like they had this organized plan where they were going to protest at the Capitol for President Trump. And then Trump basically said, like, hey, like, stand your ground. Like, we would just be peacefully protest, whatever. And then things escalated. And somehow they ended up getting inside of the Capitol. And then all these motherfuckers literally took out their phones, started taking selfies. So I'm going on Instagram and I just see it's like, this is the Capitol right now. And there's some guy in a Viking outfit with the tattoos and everything, just like living his best life. And now he's about to be in prison. But I guess, and then Trump just came out and said, hey, like, Joe Biden won. Fuck this. This is too much. I'm done. Yeah. And now,
yeah, man.
I guess he's going to be, so Joe Biden is going to be the president 100%. So, yeah, it's a pretty weird, it's just very strange, to be honest. Like, seeing this and then, like, everything that's happened, it's like the first thing to happen in 2020. And you just see this shit online. You're like, what the fuck? Or 2021, excuse me.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. What do you guys think?
Yo, man, I think, like I said this to you, like, we literally did a podcast episode, like, I think the day after Joe Biden got elected. And I was like, yo, congrats, but should we even congratulate? Because, like, Trump is saying that the election was rigged. And, you were saying, like, yo, they just need to verify everything. That's what's going on. And I said it then, man. This dude lost. This dude knew he was going to lose. And he's just like, now he's desperate. Now we're about to see what we've never seen before. We're about to see a dude who has lost his election try to turn this over, and that's literally what, like, you know what I mean? Like, he's not been doing anything presidential since the election. Like, it's just like every day tweeting. And if you see his Twitter, every single tweet is like, yo, this information about election fraud is being disputed, like this, you know what I mean? Like, even Twitter is being like, yo, these are lies. You know what I mean? Like, we can't let you, but it's his base is always in the comments. Like, yo, you know what I mean? This election was rigged. And obviously he egged it on, he egged it on to this point. Anyway, so where I'm going with this is basically that there was never any election fraud, because prior to the election, prior to Biden even winning the election, do you remember he was like, yo, stop the count? He was like, yo, like he was trying to be like, yo, it's looking like I'm losing this shit. Stop the count, guys. I won. Literally came out at midnight. I was like, I won, And prior to all this, he was like, yo, this is going to be the biggest fraud, because of the mail-in ballots in election history, blah, blah, blah. So he's been spinning this story. He planted it into their minds, and it's come to this point, And so I think the reason why people are saying he is inciting this and he is incited the riot is because they've even taken away his Twitter now, right? Like, they've suspended his Twitter permanently. Basically, just because by consistently saying, like, even his video where he said, like, the president, Joe Biden, is going to be inaugurated on January 20th. He was like, oh, even though I'm still not happy with the results, there's going to be a peaceful transference of power. But even by saying that, all you're saying to that base of people that attacked the Capitol is, yo, the president needs us to move again. You know what I mean? He's saying, like, those results aren't, you know what I mean? He's coming out and, obviously appeasing the people by saying Joe Biden is going to be elected. But, like, by telling us, like, his first address after that shit happened was, go home, be peaceful. We love you. You guys are very special. I understand you guys, that's how it ended, and it's like, that's not how you speak to terrorists. You know what I mean? And it's, I don't know, to me. So I just feel like, this is something that Donald Trump himself has manifested, literally because when he got elected in U.S. history, there is no way after an election happens for you to overturn it. There's no way. lawyers were going to court. You know, I saw like he lost 61 cases, you know, since the election, like just going to court. All his lawyers caught COVID, going state to state unmasked, just trying to like, you know, prove his case. And a lot of the juries, like a lot of the judges immediately, like a lot of times they'll just throw it out, you know, like no evidence, you know, because that's all they were going off was the stuff that Trump was saying, like, yo, a lot of dead people voted, you know, you know, people voted twice, you know, just all that. And they're like, yo, prove it, you know? And that's what his lawyers were doing. They were going state to state, trying to prove in every single state that like, yo, this happened, you know, some shit was dumped in the river, right? Like where, how do you know that? How do you know, a bunch was dumped in the river, you know, unless you made that up. Did you scuba dive? Like, I don't know. like, anyways, they lost 61 cases, bro. There literally is no evidence. You know what I mean? And I see the comments on like Trump's like Twitter, and it's like literally the supporters are with so much conviction, like, yo, this election was stolen from us, you know? And I'm like, that's why this is happening, you know, because it's like, I don't know what to believe, you know? Like if you're a Trump supporter, like this is what he's been saying every day since he lost the election, like it was a fraud, you know? So like if you're just trying to be an American, you know, or just trying to do the right thing for your party, even you two, you're like, yo, this election doesn't look legit, you know? Anyway, so we can go into all of this, but man, yeah, man, I think this is all Donald Trump's doing, man. I think he caused all of this 100%.
Dude, yeah, I was going to say, like, I almost feel like bad for the people that actually went and broke into the Capitol, because if you believed everything that Trump was saying adamantly, then what you're doing is probably justified. But the fact that they now know that it's not true, it's just like, yo, you literally have just been, I don't know, it's like these fucking politicians, man. And that's what that dude is now. Like, they just manipulate people, and it's like anything to win. And they're willing to sit on their high chairs and just be like, all right, like, you know, everyone go storm the Capitol. But it's like that he's never gonna go. Like, he's like, he literally said
in the speech to them before, it's on record, yo, I'm going to march with you guys. We're gonna march. I'm gonna be there. You know, we're gonna march there. And we're gonna encourage our fellow Republicans. You know, gonna give them a slight nudge. You know, to stand their ground, to be strong. That was literally what he said. You know, and then Giuliani came up and said like, yo, it's literally combat. Like, that's literally just. Yeah, man. So yeah, it's looking like he could get arrested for inciting this riot.
probably.
So that's what the situation is right now as well. And that's why the Democrats are trying to impeach him, even though he's got like 10 days left. That's how serious the shit is, though. So yeah, man. Pax, what do you think about the situation?
Yeah, I mean, just for the listeners, and just to kind of re-up on what Polo Show said, there has been absolutely no evidence of election fraud, right? So let's just understand that. There's been none. Zero evidence. Not a shred of evidence of election fraud. And the only reason that people are even talking about election fraud is because Donald Trump brought it up. He started to bring this up, like, stop the count. We're going to recount. There's some stuff messed up, this and that. And
election fraud. This election was stolen. These are the phrases.
This election was stolen, yeah. And the only reason he's doing that is to get his base to, have essentially to sow the seeds of distrust within his base with the U.S. government, right? To show them, hey, look, this isn't real. This didn't happen. But it did, dude. Joe Biden won. It was a fair election. There was no evidence of voter fraud. I think the company that makes the voting machines, Dominion, is now suing the Trump administration because they're like, hey,
$1.3 billion.
Yeah, because you're literally throwing our name up in jeopardy, even though literally nothing happened. We did everything okay. I think the other thing you need to understand is that, Trump brought up all these allegations about mail-in ballots. But hey, guess what? You know how the Army votes every year? Mail in, because they're literally stationed across the world. And yet all their votes are counted legally and securely every year. So again, the fact is the coronavirus forced a lot of Americans at home to vote from home using mail-in ballots. And because it was a new thing that most people had to do this year, a lot of Trump supporters were, not believing that was secure because that's what he was bringing up. And the thing too is you noticed the difference between certain states. Certain states were allowed to count the mail-in ballots early, and some of them were only allowed to count the mail-in ballots on the day of. And that's why he was like, stop the count, because he was like, oh, you can't be counting ballots after the election is over. But it's like, yes, you can. Everyone voted legally on time. They just have to count them, right? And of course, because Trump was saying all this stuff about, the election's not secure, you need to go vote in person. Obviously, his base voted in person. And then when we saw the results of the mail-in ballots, those were mostly towards Joe Biden, because obviously they were worried about the coronavirus, and a lot of his supporters were also, just reasonable people who were like, yeah, I'm just going to vote from home. I'm going to avoid this whole corona thing. It's a secure thing. We can do it. And so as the mail-in ballots came in later during that initial week of the election, we saw that, Joe Biden was essentially certified and winning more and more states. And, obviously Trump and his whole team was, saying this is not right, this is illegal. And he rallied, his base around that. And then ultimately it really became, like a defining moment within the GOP, right, the Republican Party, to say, okay, am I really going to go with this guy and go against, literally democracy, or am I going to, stay on the right side of history and say, you know what, I can't take this anymore. And so, even like Mitch McConnell, who, man, the memes about that guy are hilarious, because he obviously is the one who voted against giving the $2,000 to all the Americans. So like, the Mitch better have my money tracks and stuff were just like, the memes were hilarious. But even he came out and said, look, if we are to support these notions, we are breaking our democracy and it's going to be irreversible, right? So yeah, I mean, it was all contested and challenged in court. Trump did his best to, raise again false allegations, and they were legally and properly denied. And Joe Biden has been, confirmed with the Electoral College. They had to take a break because obviously, like you said, Polo Show, Trump was literally that morning saying, we're going to storm the Capitol, we're going to break things. He literally was telling these people to do it. And then it happened. This isn't a surprise. They had been planning this for a while. In fact, there's rumors that there might be some more events happening in the future as we get closer to Joe Biden's inauguration on the 20th. So I've heard the 17th, I've heard the 13th be thrown out as well. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. I hope nothing else. I hope the National Guard, the U.S. military, they pay like what, $700 billion a year or something for the military. Like, come on, at least, get these guys to do something right. So, yeah, it's crazy, man. It was wild to see them storm the Capitol and everything, and just see. And the thing too, a lot of people don't understand is like, they were like, how did they get in? It seemed like they got in so easy. Man, 85% of working police class vote for Trump. Like, a lot of these guys were literally just letting them in. They were probably in on it, honestly, to be honest with you. The FBI
they showed them. A lot of the police let them in.
Yeah, for years now, the FBI has written reports and has warned about, far right white supremacist organizations existing within police groups, within, different levels of the military, and maybe within the FBI itself too, right? So, we're not surprised that this kind of happened the way it did, but they are catching them. They are sending them to jail. These guys are going to be tried. Just by the way, for the listeners, the Simpsons meme was fake. I know we all wanted it to be real, but that was fake. There was like a whole thing. It was like the Simpsons called it. They had a photo of the Viking guy, and they had a very similar photo of Willie, who's like the Scottish, he's like the groundskeeper for the school in The Simpsons, and he was also wearing like a similar outfit. That was Photoshopped. That is fake. The Simpsons did not call this one, unfortunately, as much as I wish they did, because that's hilarious. No, they did not. That is fake.
Simpsons usually call some pretty spooky stuff, right?
They do, but in this case, this was just a Photoshopped meme, so it's been proven to be false as well.
Someone was trying to go viral.
They do, yeah. So, it was crazy, honestly. And as a Canadian watching this, it's like, holy shit! Like, what are you guys doing? This is wild, And just a crazy scene.
You see that Trudeau said that Trump incited it. Yeah. Trudeau said that was the event was a tragedy, but he also said that Trump incited it.
Yeah, and he.
But did. I mean, like anyone who has two eyes would see that Trump incited it. And now the issue here is, if everyone did that shit is getting prosecuted on a federal level, should the guy who incited it not get prosecuted on as well?
That's a whole nother,
and that's why that's why, like, to me, that's always been what I've seen from the jump, from when he started saying like, yo, this is gonna be a fraudulent election. I'm like, yo, man, the amount of things you could go to jail for, like right now, like you can't go back to New York, right? Because they're trying to get him for tax there. You know, just so many states trying to get him. Now this is some new shit. Like this is literally another new, like, yo, inciting. You know, so that's fuck all the tax shit, fuck all the last impeachment. You know what I mean? Like this is just literally, I think that's why he's been fighting so hard. It's like literally, if you leave that office, you might go to jail. You know what I mean? I think he's gonna pardon himself on the last day. That's what people are saying. You know, and that would be pretty despicable.
Yeah, so let's dive into that a bit. Trump might pardon himself, which is like, sounds like the dumbest thing. Like, is that even allowed? But I guess it might be, apparently, because again, the president has the authority to pardon people for crimes against the country or whatever it is. And so he could, I guess, technically pardon himself. That would be completely unprecedented. We've never seen anything like that happen. It's not like Bill Clinton pardoned himself when he was getting impeached for getting, his whole affair happening and everything like that.
Right.
By the way, isn't that crazy?
It wasn't fair, right? He never really even said it happened, right?
He literally got impeached.
Sorry, say that again?
Bill Clinton got impeached because he had a girl underneath his desk that was not his wife. And yet Trump is out here doing, I could literally count on my hands alone the number of things that he's done that's way worse than that. And he's still in office. And they're trying to impeach
people waiting.
And they're trying to impeach him again with only 10 days left. Like, this is wild, man. This is, I don't know, dude. This is just so crazy. I mean, this is the man who has the nuclear codes. Like, ladies and gentlemen, let's just pause for a minute. Like, that's too wild. This guy has too much power. So, yeah, I mean, I think over this past 4 years, I think we've learned a lot about how the American democratic and political system is flawed. I think Trump exposed all those flaws. Not sure really where they move forward from here. Hopefully Joe Biden, hopefully there actually is a peaceful transition of power and that he can, kind of restore some sort of normalcy with the United States. It's just wild, man. It's a wild time to be alive.
I was gonna say, man, did you guys hear about the phone call, like that he had with was it the whoever it is that makes the decision and certifies the count at Georgia? What role is that? The phone call that leaked. It's like 59 minutes long.
Yep.
Do you know what I'm talking about, Soy?
Yeah, I didn't listen to it because I'm like, nah, I'm not listening to the phone call.
Yeah, I heard a bit of that too, Polo and Polo show, and it's crazy, man. Like, he literally was like, "Look, this is fake," and the guy's like, "Actually, we have no evidence it's fake." No, it's fake, and I think we need to find some votes here because people know that this is not right, and the guy's like, "Actually, we double checked it. Like, it's fine. It's exactly what it is." No, and he was even asking, like, he's like, "So I heard some rumors that they're taking out the machines," and he's like, "No, all the machines are still there." He's like, "Well, they're moving parts of the machines. They're taking out parts of the machines. That's happening, right?" And he's like, "Nope." Like, he's literally, it sounds like I'm watching The Sopranos right now on television. My first time ever seeing that. This is what it sounds like. It literally sounds like a mob boss trying to like negotiate with, like people. It's crazy, man.
All right, so I just want to find 11,780 votes. An extraordinary 1 hour long Trump pressures Georgia Secretary of State to recalculate the vote in his favor. I listened to that portion of the thing. He literally says, all right, I just need 11,780. That's just one more than I need. That's not going to be suspicious, fam. I'm just going to give you enough so that you can beat that dude by one. And we're just gonna be like, yo, nothing sketchy happened here.
Man.
But yeah, literally, when I was listening, I'm like, how did they not send him out after this phone call? Like literally, the dude that you're talking about, that's like, no, it didn't happen, is his lawyer. This dude, like they said, they were trying to call his office like 18 times before he finally got through. So he was literally trying to avoid this Trump call. And finally, when he got the call, he had his lawyer next to him and he was recording, so he knew like this dude is trying to do some fucking illegal shit. So, and that's literally, it was a 1 hour conversation. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, there's no way I lost. And he was just on some like, yo, we had bigger rallies. You know what I mean? Like, just based off the size of the rallies, there's no way I could have lost. And it's like, the lawyer had to step in. I'm like, sir, Mr. President. That's not how elections work. You know what I mean? Like this, it's not the size of the rally, but the votes. You know what I mean? And that's when he went into the like, I just need 11,000. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know, man. It's crazy, man. This is so crazy. I just think, man, and this is with all this stuff we're talking about, man, it's crazy to say, man, but this would never have happened if a black man was in office. You know what I mean? Like if Obama was acting this way in his last couple of days, you know what I mean? Like there would just be no, like, I just see this, like, after that phone call, it would have been a done deal for any, you know what I mean? For anyone else. And I don't know. This is definitely, like you said it best, man. This is definitely, it's pointed out a lot of flaws in the American system, but this whole thing is also shown like the serious, white privilege issue that America has. Really, that's really what a bunch of people storming, a federal building with no consequences, like a lot of them went live, that's how the FBI is tracking them down. A lot of them went live. A lot of them went on their Instagram stories, said their full name.
Aren't they all going to go to jail?
A lot. I think.
Yeah.
Well, then, that's consequences.
Yeah. But like it just.
I mean, but
it was kind of like how they were treated in
the fact that
Rome.
they had that, like.
Right?
What do you mean?
It's like, well, just because, like, again, like the difference between like the BLM protests and how the police reacted versus this and how the police reacted. Like, it's like the police were not stopping them from getting in. They were not shooting them or arresting them or throwing them or using physical violence. Like, it was just, they were just popped in. The one girl did get shot, I will say, but she was like one door away from getting to like the vice president of the United States. That's crazy. That's crazy. Like, wow. And you're right, Sho. I think it does show kind of a difference between, white privilege and how black people in America are treated.
They literally had people outside like saying, "Yo, hang Pence." Like that was what they were chanting, like hang Pence, because like Trump had led them to, again, another lie. Like Trump had led them to believe that, Mike Pence could sort of like, because that's really what it was. They were going to count the electoral college votes. And then Pence has like a ceremonial duty as the VP to basically read who won. He literally is not involved in the counting. He just comes and like, oh, this was a one. That's his duty. And Trump basically was like, I hope Mike Pence has the courage to do what's necessary for America. Basically just wanted him to be like, no matter what that paper says, just say it's me, and then we'll continue what we're doing. And it's delusional, and Pence literally released a statement saying, I literally cannot break my constitutional duty to do this, blah, blah, blah. And there was now a mob outside that came literally to come kill. Man, I saw a lot of those like pictures of what was inside. And if you see a lot of those guys are in like actual tactical gear. They actually have like, bulletproof shit on. They have like the fucking what do you call them? The straps, the restraints. Like these guys, like it's, you know what I mean? This is not a, oh, we're gonna storm this place. I'm gonna run home and go get my stuff. You know what I mean? Like we woke up this morning to storm this place. You know what I mean? Like this was a plan. It's fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy. I just think, yeah, man. Anyways, we were gonna talk about the pardon thing. Do you think Trump is gonna pardon himself? Or well, let's first of all start with this. Do you think Trump is gonna go to jail? Do you think that this dude is going to go to jail for, if not just anything else, this?
No.
Why?
I just don't think that's going to happen. I can't see that happening. I think it's a possibility, but I just can't imagine that. It might, I don't know. Like, I really don't know that much information on it, right? So I'm speaking kind of ignorantly, but my first gut instinct is no, I don't think he will. Just of everything that's been going on right now. And I don't know. I don't know how like him pardoning himself, like I don't even know if that's a thing that can happen. Like I guess I just don't understand the system very well, but
I don't even know how that would look. Just on the last day, you just let people know. So I'm pardoning myself for I think, do you have to, so how does, I don't know how a pardon works either. Like, is it just like, I'm pardoning you, so like all of your legal woes are now banished? Or is it like you have to specify, I have to specify what I'm pardoning you for? Because in that case, Trump will have to specify what he's done illegally and then be like, yeah, these are all the things that I'm pardoning myself for, so I can't get charged for.
Yeah. I'm sure they're going to try and get him out of here. I feel like they've been doing that for like 4 years now, so it's just going to keep happening. But I don't know. I just feel like all this fucking chaos is like, it is manifested from his words, and it's manifested from the way he speaks on the political system and stuff. And I don't know. I just feel like the move, at least like for people, is like to not get so enthralled in this shit, because people like these politicians are really going to manipulate, and these news networks are really going to manipulate people into believing whatever they want you to believe. And that goes for everything, right? So I think we just need to see people start being more, what's the word? Like more in tune with themselves, so they don't get so wrapped up in this. Like that should have never happened. Like how do you fall into such a hole where you actually storm the Capitol and think what you're doing is correct? You know what I mean? So I think there's something inherently wrong with that thought process. And so I'm hoping that in the, later that people are going to start taking, stop being so fucking crazy.
Yeah, man. Well, I think, well, there's two sides. I think he should go to jail. That's for sure. Like, I'm literally still looking at this headline. I just want to find 11,780 votes. Like, come on, man. Like that's like a recording everyone has. So 1 hour conversation. It's not even like it would just happen. Like if this goes to court, your lawyer is gonna have to fight 59 minutes of audio. You know what I mean? Where if they don't get you on this phrase, could be the next one. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That conversation is if it was a black dude in office, that dude would go to jail. You know what I mean? Again, I don't know how the presidency works as well. So I think there might also be some kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Privilege, just from being a president. Like
there is a privilege to being president. Every president has been involved in war and has killed people.
I mean,
there is some sort of like, okay, well, now that you're done, like you can just live your life now. Like these guys have a lot of money now. All these presidents are just sitting on crazy amounts of money.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think it's important to know that like Trump, he can pardon people that have committed federal crimes, but he can't pardon people that have committed state crimes. So for example, like he's been investigated, as Polo Show said earlier, he's being investigated in New York right now for like tax fraud. He can't pardon himself from that because that is under state, that's not federal. And he's also discussed, pardoning himself, but also pardoning his family too, right? Like his daughter and his sons, just all his family members, so that none of them can be investigated on a federal level. And I'm not sure whether that would be unconstitutional or not. I know like back in the 70s, Nixon was thinking about pardoning himself, right, due to the whole Watergate scandal and everything. But apparently his advisors went against it because they said that it would be unconstitutional and that it wouldn't work. Something that we know with Trump is that he loves to kind of like push the limits of his power, and especially if it makes other people pissed off. So I wouldn't rule it out that he's going to try it, but I don't know if it's going to work. Now, going back to the question of whether he would go to jail or not, I mean, that's a hard question, man. I feel like, he should go to jail probably for a number.
And that's a different question. Yeah, exactly. So
it's like, should he
agree with that, Soy?
The answer is
yeah, it should go. I think
he'd go to jail, but the answer,
especially for inciting the thing. Everything. The fact that he's the reason that happened, I feel like there should be consequences to hold.
That's right.
But I just don't know if it's a reality that he will because he was the president. I just think there's something about that position that lets you almost get away with some certain things, right?
I see where you're coming from, but in regards to the like war crime, well, it's not a war crime. You know what I mean? Like that's war. You know,
Or just war,
we're
yeah.
sending soldiers over there to kill, and I'm the commander, right? Like, so you know what I mean? Like, what jail? He's not going to go into an American jail for that. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah,
you know, and I don't hear stories of these ex-presidents flying overseas to the countries where they had war in. You know, so it's just being smart. Like, when
No.
you're done, like.
yeah, I don't think
no one's gonna. Everyone salutes you in America. No one's gonna send you to jail.
Yeah, I think if he does
what
go
you
to
did
jail,
was a crime to an American, I feel like that's different. You know what I mean? Like they're trying to jail him in America. I don't think that's happened before, where the American prisons were trying to jail the president. So what were you gonna say, Pax?
No, I was just gonna be like, if he does, I think it won't be right away. Like it'll be like let's say hypothetically, if that did happen, it would be a long process. He would fight it, appeals, all that. It could be like years from now if he ever faced any jail time, honestly, for all the things he's done.
Yeah. And that's crazy, man. That's actually crazy. Like that's what's nuts. And it's almost like, this is how I see it. I think he has to, like, just so that the Americans can show that their system works and this can never happen again. You know what I mean? Because if it means I can get into that office, right? Anyone can get into that office and then just act a fool for the 4 years. You know what I mean? And then just get out unscathed, you know, get that pension and Secret Service for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? That's kind of crazy. You know, everyone's, the next con artist is going to be trying to fucking run for president, you know?
Yeah.
And just fucking do the fool and pardon himself on the last day. You know, that's going to be the new trend.
Dude, I see a lot of people. I feel like there's going to be, like, in 2024, you're going to see a bunch of, like, celebrities, like, running for president. I believe that's probably going to be, like, what's going to happen. I know Kanye's going to do it for sure. He said he's going to be president, so he probably will be. And then, like, I'm seeing it all over online, people saying they're going to run for president. It's just like, I don't know, man.
You know, there was only ever one president in history that didn't have a first lady.
Who?
I don't know. I just Googled it one time, like a long time ago. I was wondering, like, does every president have a first lady? Oh, I can Google it right now. But the dude actually served like 8 years. Like he served 2 terms. So it's proof of productivity. But yeah, I was just thinking about that. Kanye would be the second if.
Yeah, that'd be weird if Kim Kardashian was the first lady.
I think that's why she's stuck in there. She was like, "Yo, I hate this presidency shit, but yo, if you win, we can make it work another 4 years." Kim turning down. If he was to win, watch Kim be trying to get back together with him. You know, like that's literally all I got to do is get back together with my ex, and I'm the first lady. I don't know Kim like that. You know, why am I making her seem?
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just gonna Google this fucking president. But yeah,
I will say one thing I am happy for, just kind of like, you know, wrapping up this convo. It has been crazy, and just seeing all this stuff, and like just seeing all this stuff actually take place in real life, like from going from these manipulation things that you see on social media to actually it happening in real life is kind of scary. It is. But I am glad he's out of office, because I feel like he did, you know, he was going to his base all the time, right? So it's like he was creating a division like we haven't seen in a long time.
What's so important as well is that his base really revealed themselves. You know what I mean? Literally, you can't just say like, yo, those are just the extremists. That was literally the crowd of people he was speaking to just moments earlier. You know, that was literally his base, the people he rallies for. You know, and they just like came and they showed themselves, they revealed themselves. It was literally a fucking Confederate flag, you know, being in the building and shit. You know what I mean? Like they
should just say, I'm racist.
That's literally, you know what I mean? Like that's might as well have just fucking patted it on your forehead. But yeah, that's exactly what happened. So yeah, the president who never married, the 15th U.S. president, James Buchanan. But yeah, just an interesting fact. He was a Democrat. Yeah, so I guess that concludes our national news. I guess in conclusion, I think dude should go to jail, but I think white privilege, and just that's really it. We'll keep him out of jail. That's all. That's all there is to it. He's just gonna finesse. He's gonna pull a Lord finesse, and not go to jail. That's probably what's gonna happen. But does he deserve to go to jail? 110%. 110% for sure. So yeah. Onto our local news. We got Pax P with us. Paxton Porter, friend of the pod, our first guest this year. What was the other title you gave him when we started this? I was like,
I'm the first person to come back twice.
Oh, word. Also the first, yeah. So look at all these flexes homie has, right? Yeah, man. I guess we just want to talk about, the local situation right now. So I think our lockdown was currently till the 11th, but it's been pushed to the 21st.
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
So I guess how do you guys feel about that?
Well, here's the thing. Okay, so we say lockdown, but I feel like that it's a little bit like an exaggeration because you are allowed to leave your house, right? There's no one stopping you from leaving your house. Like I had a solid run in Eau Claire the other day. So I can do that. The ski hill is open. I've been at the ski hill quite a bit. I've been skiing up a storm this winter. I got a season pass to Lake Louise. The mountains are right there. You can drive to them. You can do whatever you want. You can go hiking, cross country skiing. You could go skating. A lot of people are out here. I personally have been getting up early a few days to play some hockey just to avoid, I'm trying to avoid anybody on the rink. So I just show up at 8:00 in the morning, lace up my skates, get out there, mess around with the puck a little bit, do some cardio, and then leave, when people start to show up. So I don't really see it as a lockdown because I'm still leaving the house and doing stuff. I'm just doing stuff, by myself or with my family members, my close contacts. Yes, it's true. I can't see my friends. I can't go to a restaurant. I can't go to a bar, but I don't necessarily feel locked down. Do you guys feel like that?
I feel like, man, we talked about this the other week and it was just it's crazy how when the first lockdown happened, when they said yo, everything's got to shut down, we got to go into quarantine. It was just a lot of us, we've never experienced a quarantine in our lives, so we're what the fuck, and now it's this is pretty similar to what the last one was, but it's just it's now become we're now living with COVID per se, so it's now become a norm, you know what I mean? I feel just what I'm trying to point out is just your ability to adapt to it so easily is because we just literally, you know what I mean, we went through a year of someone doing this, right? So it's if we just had the year that we've been having, or if we just had a year 2019, a normal year, and then COVID happened in December and we got hit with this lockdown news, then there would be that what the fuck is going on, feeling. So no, I just think I think people have just adapted better to it. That being said, yeah, it does suck. Obviously the social aspect, not being able to see people, just there's obviously things you could get done with other people as well, right? So yeah, just that, right, has been the hard part. But I would say it's just weird how it's almost more. It's just weird how it's normal it is to me now as opposed to I just remember how weird how shocked I was when we got it earlier in 2020, yo, we have to quarantine. I'm what is this, you know what I mean? But yeah, how do you feel about it, Soy?
I don't know. I have my ups and downs, but I understand why it's happening, but at the same time I'm just fuck, I want to go to the gym. There's a lot of things I want to do, but it does feel restrictive because I do a lot of stuff outside, going places, but everything's pretty much open except for restaurants and gyms. So I don't know. I just felt and to be honest, to me, it kind of, I guess it doesn't feel unnecessary because you're seeing the spikes happening and I had someone at work get it and a lot of people I know are getting it, and it is here and it is probably wisest to do this. So I suppose, but it's also at the same time, it's like I still have to take the train, right? And so that's like, come on, there's like so many people that get on that thing all the time and it's always full. And it's like, but I can't go to the gym. So it's like a weird, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, to be honest. And it is kind of bothersome where I'm like, well, then why even shut everything down if I can still use the bus?
They just can't perfect it, right? Like in a perfect world, if COVID hit in the year 200 BC, you know, everyone just has to stay in their fucking hut, you know, and like,
you're never gonna know.
That's it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't get more like, you know, it doesn't get more complex than that. But I just on that, and you probably like the hunters will still go out and hunt. You know, they'll just be careful, and they'll bring back food and that. You know what I mean? Like that. But I'm just pointing out like life is so like we live in a metropolis city, right? Like there's a train, you know, there's the buses, there's an ecosystem of shit that goes on where it's like we can't just shut down the train because then the nurse can't get to work. You know what I mean? Like there's just so many. So it's like they're gonna do what they can. But in a perfect world, the train wouldn't run. You know what I mean? The train, you know what I mean? Like
everyone would just be home.
Run. Everyone would just. That's what they would do. It would just be like, yo, everyone just stay in your hut. You know, don't. And everyone.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is we all can't stay home and just, you know, get paid by the government, right? Like, yeah, there's a lot of people on the CERB and stuff, but that's not forever. And like a lot of people like yourself, Soy, are essential workers and they got to get to work. You know, my girlfriend is working at the Children's Hospital and she has to get to work on the bus and train as well. That's kind of like an essential thing. But yeah, I do kind of am like a little bit worried about her sometimes because I'm like, oh man, the train, like a lot of people on there are just coming in, no mask. They're just doing whatever, right? And so it's like, and I understand your sentiment where it's like, oh, I can go on the train with a bunch of people, but I can't, you know, get in the gym. I think a lot of people have told me, they're like, how is the ski hill open, but I can't go to the gym? A little bit different because the ski hill's outdoors,
the ski hill's outside,
and it's like it's outdoors and it's like a giant place. Like I'm on the double black diamonds and there's literally no one next to me, right? Because it's just extreme
subtle flex brought to you by XP.
Yeah, just for anyone listening, I'm a good skier. But yeah, but yeah, man, it's hard. But the thing is, I think ultimately what we have to focus on, and I know some people don't necessarily agree, and I understand, but we have to focus on the fact that Jason Kenney fucked this up. Like he dropped the ball. He dropped the ball. We were doing so good in March of last year at the beginning of this, and everything was shut down. And then he kind of just opened it all back up. And he did it in a way that I don't agree with. I think what he should have done was they had this phased approach, right? Where it was like phase 1, 2, 3. But there was too many things included in each phase. So as they were opening up everything, too many things were reopening. And the reality is they've said that they can't keep track of where the cases are coming from, how they're spreading, and contact tracing, right? They just can't do it. So the reality is, you know, when he says we have no evidence that it's spreading from this place, you don't actually know because you don't know where it's coming from. And I feel bad. First of all, I feel bad for the business owners who legitimately work their hardest to keep COVID out. You know, the barbers, the waiters, the cooks, all that kind of stuff. People who, you know, maybe they didn't have a case of COVID in their restaurant or their hair salon or whatever it was, but now they just got to shut down because, you know, Joe Blow has to run around without a mask on or whatever, right? But ultimately, I do think it's Kenny's fault. I think he was not listening to Hinshaw the way he should have been, and I think that he opened too much at once. I think they should have done more kind of like what BC did, where it was like a phased approach, where it's like, okay, we're going to open restaurants. Okay, well, we're not seeing too many cases in restaurants. All right, well, let's open hair salons next. Oh, hair salons is all good too. All right, well, let's open this next. And you kind of just go slowly. The thing too is like when you look at, you know, Australia, you look at New Zealand, they had a long lockdown, talking like 8-9 months of straight lockdown. But now they almost reduced the cases to like nothing, right? And it's just kind of been proven at this point that it's like if you do a hard lockdown for a longer period of time, it goes better in the long term. And the businesses will rebound and everything will come back versus doing a short lockdown, opening everything up, and then having to re-lock down again because now everything's getting out of control. And the thing too is it sucks because they didn't, like obviously Kenny came out and he said, yo, I'll have a number. And when we hit this number, that's when I'm going to lock everything down again. Obviously that number was too high. he could have, look when we look back at like September, when we were kind of in that 500 a day range, he could have been like, okay, you know what, we're going to take bigger steps. And, he didn't do that. And then things got to a point where it was like 2,500 cases a day. And then it was like, okay, things really got to shut down now. Now, I know the coronavirus has been politicized. There's going to be people listening to this who don't agree with me. They're going to be saying, no, things should be open. We need to do everything we can. But, it's tough. It's really tough, but I just don't feel like he handled it well. I think, for example, okay, the gym. I've missed the gym a lot this year. Like, it sucks not being able to go. But the reality is gyms were not enforcing mask usage. It was this weird thing where you had to wear the mask entering the gym, and then you were allowed to take it off. And then you could work out without it on. And they said that you should, quote unquote, be wearing it as you're moving between station to station. But there were a lot of people who were not doing that. And they also had locker rooms open. Like, if I'm a gym owner, I'm doing this. Okay, first of all, locker rooms shut down. You come dressed, ready to go to the gym. That's it. You want to carry a bag around with some stuff in it? No worries. But you come dressed to go. Group fitness shut down completely. You shut down a few machines here and there to keep things distant, shut down maybe a squat rack in the middle, have 2 other squat racks to the side, whatever it is. And then you just enforce mask usage. You wear your mask the entire time you're in the gym. You don't take it off. You don't take it off to scratch your face, to adjust or whatever it is, and I know people are going to, well, what about water? I don't know. Maybe you have to take a sip of water outside at a certain location. It's hard.
I know what you're saying.
There's no perfect situation. I know it's a weird thing, but ultimately, there were a lot of people not complying with these rules. And who knows? Some people are saying, hey, there were no cases reported at the gym or whatever. It's a fine place. I don't know. We did see the spin class happen, right? And there was that case that came. It was like 45 cases, I think, came out of one spin class in downtown. Different, I guess, because it's group fitness. Everyone's in there. Maybe it's different than like a weightlifting situation where you got one dude in squat rack on the one side, you got another dude doing a machine on the other side. Like, that's obviously fine. But ultimately, I just think that people were too easy with this, and now we've come back to this lockdown scenario where it's like, if we had just taken it more seriously and we had just done better steps at the beginning, we would have avoided this situation, and we might have been all able to have Christmas together. Instead, we had to do Christmas Zoom with friends. We had to do New Year's Zoom with friends. Like, it sucks, man. It sucks. Nobody wants this, but it is what it is. Like Polo Show said, this is what we're living with now.
Fucking yeah, man. My grandma, for real, like, she's been in lockdown 5 times now, and every time she's been in lockdown, she's been tested negative. And it's just like, I don't know. I think about that kind of stuff, and I just think, I don't know. I don't think a lot of people put a lot of, I mean, if you have a grandma or a grandpa, you're close with them, then you probably understand where it's just like, they're in this old folks home and they're basically in prison. And it's like, it's just such a shitty situation. And it was, to be honest with you guys, like, over Christmas, like, it was really tough. Just like being alone and like not being able to go anywhere. Like, having to call my grandma and just being like, I'm sorry. Like, it's just, the timing was really shitty. And I do think it was because of like what you're saying, Paxton, of like kind of just being irresponsible with everything. And then you see these politicians go out and fucking fly to the Bahamas, whatever. It's just like, yo, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Yeah.
I
don't know.
I want to fucking beat the shit out of one of these guys.
There seems to be
that's the thing, like the hypocrisy, man. It's like, we're literally spending Christmas like by ourselves. Like, I had to see my dad outside. I had dropped his gift off and then walked away from his house. He like grabbed it, you know what I mean, and just kind of like gave me a thumbs up, and that was that. And all of a sudden, like, I hear, all these ministers and chiefs of staff are going to Hawaii, they're going to the UK, they're doing this. And it's like, rules for thee, not for me.
Yeah, it's like, you're bringing Corona. You're literally going, getting it, and then coming back with it. Like, what the fuck?
It almost seems like, there seems to be like in the upper class, because you saw like Rihanna and A$AP Rocky, who we have no beef with it whatsoever. But they said like they went like to the Bahamas or something. Like they went, like, where's Rihanna from? They went back Barbados.
Barbados?
Yeah.
They went there, like, or they went you know, just to go travel like for Christmas, just to spend time together. And I'm like, man, in the middle of this pandemic, like it's almost like, yo, fuck it, we can afford to do it. You know, we'll just mask on the plane, mask on the plane to the resort, mask.
Wherever Rihanna's from, we need to go there.
The only time there's no mask is when you're in your rooms, like but it's like they can afford it in their minds.
That's money.
It's crazy. And it is like I was gonna bring that up as well. It's fucking hypocritical of these like politicians, you know. But it's like, I don't know. Maybe in their minds you're like, yo, we're protecting them by lying to them.
Nah, bro.
The finance minister from Ontario, he had a Zoom call where his background was his house in Ontario, but you could hear the waves crashing in the background. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what an idiot. Like, it's just, right? Like, for people listening, yes, it's not illegal right now to travel. Technically, if I wanted to get on a plane and go to the Bahamas right now, I could do that. I could go against the government of Canada's advice. I could go against the government of Alberta's advice and just take my life into my own hands, roll the dice. Hopefully I don't get corona and I could go. Yes, it's true. But the reason that we're upset is because these are politicians that are doing this. These are the people that are keeping us at home and yet going out themselves. And these are people that are tweeting, hey, I think like the one dude, he posted a photo of him shoveling his driveway on Instagram, but the location said St. Bart's. Come on, dude. And Jason Kenney commented underneath being like, good job staying home. Like, what? Like, come on, guys, come on. And it's just like, and then Jason Kenney, you know, he's like, well, it's not my responsibility to tell them what to do. Yeah, it is. It actually is. That's exactly what it is. You know, it really felt like he was like, it's not my fault. We're in the middle of a pandemonium. I mean, a panorama. I mean, a Papa John's. Like, I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, he just
so scared.
It is what it is. It's dumb. It's on some dumb shit. And here's the thing. I have family members that have traveled during this time. They just decided, they were like, fuck it, I'm going to do it. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just letting you know right now, do not post on social media. That is a horrible decision. And if you get coronavirus, make sure to throw me in the will. That's it.
Yeah. That's how I see it as well. I don't know. Like, I definitely have family members as well that have done it. Like, just and it's not even like on some business shit. It's just like, yo, the friends are linked in whatever. I'm just gonna catch a flight. And I'm like, all right.
To be honest, I feel like that's how it should be. I feel like there should be. I don't know. The whole thing that bothers me is just not having a choice, and then seeing others not do it is very frustrating. Like you guys are talking about, like. It's just like the hypocrisy, like you're saying, like, it's like, fuck, man, like, I want to be behind this 100%. And I want to be that guy that's like, yeah, we should lock down. But at the same time, I'm like, well, fuck, like, if you have money, you don't have to lock down. If you have a bunch of money in your bank account, you can do, there's no limits. I'm seeing rappers do these videos where there's like so many people in these videos and these sets. And it's like,
I think it's still like they're still trying to be safe. You know, they're probably like, I imagine like with those music videos I'm seeing, they're like, you know, they're doing like a, what do you call it, temperature check for everyone that's on set.
Yeah.
They're still trying to be but I know.
I would assume so.
I know what you mean. It's still like, yo, but it's just like, you know, the show must go on, right? Like I think that's how like they're seeing it. In America, it's just like straight up, like in America's worse. Like we think we have it hard here. Like they just didn't handle it well at all over there, you know? So you literally, it was on you to be fucking cautious, you know, and maneuver the virus.
And here's the thing, right? Like
people are doing it.
Yeah. And here's the thing, like a lot of people preach, you know, personal responsibility, right? That's what Jason Kenney was preaching this whole time. Just be personally responsible. Hey, we're not going to tell you what to do. Just take it in your own hands and be responsible. But there's a certain time where it's like, yo, we're not being personally responsible. The cases are still going up. People are doing things against your advice, and there's anti-maskers in the street. There's people who just in general, maybe they're not at the protests, but they don't want to wear it in the store. They're causing scenes, you know, Karen's this whole thing. And so eventually they do have to step in and kind of place the rules. And now here we are. The South Asian community is really pissed at him too, because I don't know if you guys remember, but earlier, I think it was in the summer, he had specifically spoken on a radio interview, and he said, look, anyone listening from the South Asian community right now, you need to not see your friends. You need to not. He kind of like singled out that group because there was like obviously that super spreader wedding, I think in the summer again. But they felt really offended by that. And then now he's allowing his ministers to travel, and now they're really pissed because like you literally singled out a specific racial group of people, and yet you let your own people just like, you know, do whatever they want, and that's kind of fucked up. So it's tough, man. But you guys are all good though, right? Like mental health, you guys are just chilling at home. It's all good. Like, yeah.
Yeah, man. I was gonna say about New Zealand that the reason why they were able to get like no cases was because it's a fucking island, right? Like, so when they're locked down, it was really a lockdown. It's like no one's getting on or off this fucking island until the lockdown is over. And yeah, that's how they did it. But even in the beginning, when we locked down, you know, people were still driving province to province. You know what I mean? People were still flying in. I remember it was a thing that was happening. Like Albertans would like drive to BC, and BC people would like, you know, write stuff on their car windows, like go home. You know what I mean? Like it was becoming like territorial, like, yo, get the fuck back and shit like that. But yeah, that's just the issue. It's like, yo, Canada's just like, you know, province to province to province, you know, there's gonna be people fucking spreading shit. And that's what I was gonna bring up. Like, so it's easier said than done. New Zealand really had like the perfect situation. It's like, you know, shut down the fucking island, you know? Yeah. It's probably like one airport. So yeah.
And kind of talking, I'm sorry.
Yep.
I was just going to say, no, talking about international travel, like, you know, we have this whole system being tested out at the Calgary airport right now, right? Where it's like, if you travel, you come back, you test, they test you right away, like a rapid test, you test negative, cool. You go into isolation for like 6 days. They get you a second test, you test negative again, then it's all good. You go home, you're fine. But that system is flawed as well, because there's a girl I was reading on CBC who she came from Utah to Calgary. So she tested negative at the border in the airport. She went to a hotel, isolated 6 days, tested again negative, 2 negative tests, cool. Went home 2 days after getting home, symptoms, whole family infected with coronavirus. And it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, it sucks.
Did they get on the trip home? Did she take a taxi home?
I think she got it in Utah, honestly. I don't know if they picked her up from the hotel or what was the situation there, but she went back to the place where her husband and her kids were, and now they all had the coronavirus, right? So she passed it. So even that system that they have in the airport right now is not bulletproof, right? Yeah. Yeah,
man. I honestly think like to replicate what New Zealand did, it would have to be like a hard lockdown. It would have to have been, and I don't know what it would be now. Like, again, they're talking about opening up for the end of January, but that's what it would have had to have been like in the beginning. And I think they knew it, right? Like the people were just like, there was just that, like when, like I said, like even I was there as well. Like when the first lockdown happened, first quarantine happened, a lot of people were restless and whatnot, and everyone was like ready to get back out, you know? And I honestly think that's what it was. It was like they opened things up just to appease, you know, the masses. People wanted to get back out, but it was not like all the doctors, all the experts were like, nah, we should probably stay in a hard lockdown for a bit longer, you know, if we want to completely eradicate this thing. But you're right, like you brought it up, here we are. Like we did a short lockdown and we opened shit back up, and now here we are again. You know, and now they're talking about this new variant, you know, so I just hope that the plans they have are going to be effective. You know, they have this vaccine, right? I guess we didn't even talk about that.
Yes.
How do you guys feel about the vaccine?
I'm taking it.
Yeah, I kind of feel that way as well. I mean, I want to see some other people take it, of course, but yeah, that's how I feel about it. I'm like, yo.
I want to start doing shows, man. I really want to get back on the grind, because we had something going. Like, I really just want to just go to those next steps. Like, imagine how fun underground shows are going to be now when things open up again. Like, man, that energy is going to be crazy.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, I agree with Soy. I think if you want life, if you honestly don't like this coronavirus, if you honestly don't like this lockdown and everything that's going on, and you want life to get back to normal, then you're going to take the vaccine. That's it. And I know there's a lot of people out here who, they're kind of like, I don't know what's in the vaccine. Bruh, you don't know what's in the cigarette you're smoking or what you're vaping. Like you eat bologna. Like, come on, guys. Like, so, yeah, man. I mean, it's tough. And I know it's tough too, because I know a lot of people reference like I Am Legend. I don't know if you guys have seen that film, right? Where it's like they had the virus and then there was the vaccine, but then the vaccine turned them to zombies, right? And some people are like, oh, this is I Am Legend. Or like some conspiracy theorists are like, there's a chip in the vaccine. I'm going to be tracked. Like, stop it right now. Come on, guys. So, even if you are somebody who's like, I just want other people to take it first and then I'll just wait and see how it is. That's right now. There are people in Alberta and across the world getting the vaccines right now. And I think for us, like just the casual general public, most likely I'm thinking fall 2021. I'm thinking like September, October is when we're going to be able to like just schedule an appointment, get the vaccine, and then live with our lives. But ultimately, that's the way of getting things back to normal. And I'm glad you brought up concerts, Soy, because I was reading this report from Billboard. I don't know if you guys read it or have spoken about it, but it's regarding Ticketmaster. So Ticketmaster, obviously, we know organizes all the biggest events and across the world. Here in Calgary, if you're performing at the Saddle Dome, you're buying tickets through Ticketmaster, right? Like if you're going to go to a concert there, even at the Big Four or the BMO, that's all Ticketmaster. And so there's this report that Ticketmaster, what they wanted to do with concerts moving forward this year was to either have vaccination confirmation status or a negative test within 1 day of the concert. So essentially, Ticketmaster would ask you for your vaccination status, whether you'd been vaccinated or not with the COVID-19 vaccine. And then if not, then you have to prove and submit a test result saying that you're negative for COVID within 1 to 2 days of you attending the concert. And that brought up a lot of issues because a lot of people are like, I don't want Ticketmaster knowing my health records. I don't want them having access to this sort of data. Like this is a big privacy breach. And
it just has to be that one piece of information, like what they like. Are they asking for your healthcare number? Like they just want that one piece of information.
For sure. But a lot of people see it as like kind of a slippery slope. Like what else could they ask for? Right. And I understand those privacy concerns. But at the same time, if you are someone who's like, because the music industry has been affected very hard by this. Roadies have been laid off, touring managers, stage productions, setup, backup dancers, musicians in general, like that's a huge income source for musicians is to be able to perform live and sell tickets and get people into the event. So if you're Ticketmaster and you're the largest ticket platform in the world, obviously no one's buying tickets on your platform right now because all shows are canceled. You want life to get back to normal as soon as you can, and you need to facilitate that, right? And so it's very interesting, honestly, to see where it'll go. It's just a report right now. Ticketmaster hasn't confirmed this or not. I assume if they did, to be honest with you, there would be a lot of legal challenges. There'd be a lot of backlash. So I don't know if they're necessarily going to do it or not. But I guess the question is, I'll give it to you guys. Would you feel safer if they had this in place?
Yeah, man, like until the last man has been vaccinated, I don't know if I'm down to go to a fucking concert. There's no way to prove to me that, I don't know, that plan sounds flawed to me. Because like you just said, like the one girl who landed, got tested, did a 6-day thing, got tested again, it was negative, and then got home with the virus, So me getting the vaccine is the guaranteed way to, show that I'm showing up there without COVID. You doing a 1-day negative test, it really means nothing, you're still putting other people, it's still risky, the entire situation. So no, I think it just has to be like, that's what the standard should be. Like, I think Lupe Fiasco had said it when they first announced the vaccine. Like when I start back doing shows, like you're going to have to show proof of the vaccine, like that you got vaccinated to be able to come to my show, So whether that's going to be in the ticket buying process or at the door, well, not at the fucking door. I don't want you to come at the door and then be trying to finesse me with COVID.
How do you feel about it, Soy?
Man, I think I definitely don't want to live in that space of conspiracy theories. I feel like you'll just drive yourself crazy if you just believe everything you hear. So like, even like assuming that there's a chip in it, it's like, bro, like you have to think like, why the fuck why would a government want to destroy its people? Like, it doesn't make it, just because it's all about money, right? So they're just doing it so that they can get back to making money. And that's with all of us. Like, that's what I want to do. I want to start going out and making money. Like, but yeah, I think that's fine. I'm gonna, as soon as I can get it, I'm getting it, because I fuck the masks. I'm so tired of the masks. I'm not gonna lie. Like, the shit is so itchy. I know that's such a first world problem, but like,
I will. I'm gonna plug. They're not sponsoring me or this podcast. I wish they were, but Under Armour makes the ISO Sport mask. That is the best non-medical mask in the game. It's on sale right now at Sport Check for $29. It's a little bit expensive, but it is so soft on your face. It has an adjustable nose band, so you can like mold it around the bridge of your nose. It comes in different sizes too. There's like large, extra large, medium large, that kind of thing. It comes with like a bag that like you put the mask in like when you're not using it, that you can just kind of like quickly, like a little button thing, very easily washable. And it has a layer of uropropylene, which is like it's like kind of it's essentially like really good for filtering out, you know, bad shit. So it was made for like athletics involved, right? So, you know, made for running and that kind of thing. So it's like really soft on your face, and if you sweat, like I wear it when I ski personally, and I sweat on it, and it keeps me warm, and it's like totally fine. It doesn't get too soaked. So that's something. If you want a good mask, I 100% recommend that one.
I'll probably invest in that. Probably after this call, I'll probably get one. It's on sale.
Word. So yeah. That basically concludes our local, you know, just the situation here in Calgary. It's a pandemic. We're surviving. It's basically the summary of it. Yeah. So onto our artist motivation. Started reading, or I got Audible, which has been pretty dope.
Really good app.
I've been listening to a book called Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. And this dude is like a Navy SEAL, and he was on the Joe Rogan podcast. And I just saw a clip of him. I didn't see the whole podcast, like, because it was from a while ago. But they were just talking about something like combat or something, just something pretty random. But it just made me like interested in this dude, like, and so I went and looked him up, looked up his credentials. You know, apparently like his unit was involved in his SEAL unit was involved in the war in Ramadi, Iraq, and basically like his unit is like one of the most like what do you call is it medaled or awarded units? You know, so yeah, in that was in that war basically. And so the book is called Extreme Ownership, and it's basically just about leadership. And that's what he does now. So he's been discharged, is that the word? Like from the army, and now he lives like a regular life. But he has a business with a fellow SEAL commander, and what they do is they coach like different businesses and organizations on leadership, you know, leadership like mindset and concepts that they can apply to their teams and goals. And so basically just simplified that all into a book. And so I just read like the first chapter, and basically just the whole summary of the book is just the good leader takes full ownership of everything in their world. And as an example of that in the Navy, it was just whenever there's a situation that goes sideways, as a commander, you know, he would never blame, you know, the subordinates. He would always take full responsibility. And you would see that mindset would grow throughout the organization. You know, whenever some shit happened where it was clearly someone's fault, there isn't that attitude, there isn't that mindset to blame someone else, because, you know, the person in command doesn't have that mindset. He will blame himself. So it kind of it really turns everyone on the team into a leader, because everyone's taking ownership for the situation. So yeah, that's today's artist motivation. Take ownership. You know, obviously that actually means a lot in music, but just take ownership of everything going on in your life. You know, be a leader in your life and make it to your goals. So you want to take us away with our conclusion?
Word. Is this episode 29? I always forget. Okay. Dang. Episode 29. Paxton, thank you so much for being on, dude.
Thanks for having me on.
It's a pleasure. You're always welcome back. Yeah, this has been episode 29. Thank you guys for listening. You can follow me at The Only True Soy on social media. You show?
I go by Poliano_DA_Don.
And Paxton?
You can follow me on Instagram at Pax Porter. You can follow me on TikTok at PXTNP. I'm doing a lot of sneaker stuff on TikTok. And before I get out of here, I just want to shout out Joe LaPuma, Senior Vice President of Complex, had been replying to me recently on Instagram. And so it's just cool to get a shout out from people that you really respect in the industry. So it's awesome. Thank you guys for having me on this podcast. I love being on. I would love for you guys to have me again when you have like an album discussion or something. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, man. Make sure you also follow us at our Lifted Ones account. That's lifted_ones. And follow the blog, that's Show or Polo Show's blog, YYC Hip Hop Daily. Cyphers every Friday. Shit is fire. But yeah, that has been episode 29. Thank you guys for listening. Peace out.
Peace.
Peace.